the role of civil society organizations on climate change. So, talking about CSOs, civil society organizations, they're also commonly called NGOs. So, they have been the change makers, they have been the role models or a catalyst and a source of inspiration for many. And they are mission driven, they are selfless, they have very clear thought process, and their values are based on empathy and compassion, which are the driving factors. So they are not for profit. So coming to what CSOs have done on climate change, both nationally as well as globally, they have worked on areas of reforestation, they have worked on nature conservation, they've worked on legal aspects, putting pressure on the government, bringing about policy, influencing the policy to work in favor of nature. They have also done negotiations on environmental treaties. There are a lot of things that the CSOs have done on climate change and they're continuing to do. The UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC, has recognized CSOs for their valuable contribution in the area of climate change and the importance that is laid on them. So there's also a lot of networking of CSOs that is going on across the globe and even in India. So many CSOs have come together, and then depending on their strengths, they have earmarked themselves a certain role to be played in the climate change issue and collectively help solve the problems. So in this webinar today, we have some very experienced, eminent, selfless, inspiring CSOs who I'm sure when we hear them, a lot of us will get that kind of inspiration to be the change, to associate with such CSOs. So the objective of this webinar and also the takeaway and action items, I'm stressing on the action items because this is not a webinar which we are going to hear and then forget about it. It's a webinar, it should be a webinar which should have action items. So some of the action items which we can have, apart from getting inspired and being the change, is to understand the perspectives of these experienced CSOs who have contributed a lot. And then unity is strength. So today, when at a global level, we all have to unify. Even in India, we have to unify and become a strength. So there has to be a framework for all of us to work together. So we have to evolve that. Then engage the youth associations. That is the most important, that we have to reach to the academics. We have to put social service activities make it as a part of the syllabus, the curriculum. The students have to get out on the field and then do something in this area by associating again with CSOs like us. And we also should be able to influence the climate policy of our government, bring about legal pressure. So there are some case studies, speakers today who are going to talk how they have been able to do that by influencing the government.
Civil society organizations and climate change. This is one of the most important session of all the themes. Why? Because no matter government comes up with a policy initiative, for that to manifest on ground, the role of civil society organizations is very important. Efforts for the cause of environment should happen at right from an individual home, from a village, from a town, at all the geographies. And more than government, civil society organizations are deeply connected to these communities. Even where the government's presence and goodwill is very minimal, there we have civil society organizations working. So in the cause of environment, the role of civil society organizations is extremely important. And before we start the session itself, I want to appeal to each of the panelists who have been doing a lot of wonderful work, that we have to all combine together. And if you look at all the sustainable development goals, the 17th goal speaks about the power of partnerships. So if all these change agents can combine and give us all direction, so that we can engage, India has the strength of millions of youth. So under your leadership and guidance, we want to connect and collaborate with all these schools, colleges, and communities, and make this mainstream.
How do we prevent wastage of food? I just want to talk on what we do. Now, when I was trying to connect with the climate change, what I see in India is almost around 67 million tons of food is wasted on every year. That comes to, as per the Food Waste Index 2021 report published by UNDEP. What it was saying that India alone waste almost around 67 million tons of food. This is almost around 2019 records. Okay. So what we do as part of RHA is we want to help in the prevention or reduction of the wastage of food. So what we do is we pick up all excess food. We pick up the excess food or the surplus food in a day, or we can say in a month. We come up to almost around 30,000 people are fed. 30 to 50,000 people are fed in Hyderabad only from the surplus food collection and distribution. Because our main motto of RHA is to ensure that we do not miss any call and pick up all the food that is getting wasted in Hyderabad. And it actually, if you look at in about our Lobby Road Army, since 2014 when we started, in Hyderabad we have fed almost around 7.8 million people. Okay, major would be from the excess food collection, and across the globe we have fed almost around 80 million people. Uh, Basically, our main motto is also to pick up the excess food and let's not waste any food because it creates a lot of emission problems. Um, so what we have done is we always pick up the food and we distribute. And it's not only food. What we have seen is almost 40% of the wastage is from the vegetables and fruits, which do not even reach the consumer. It gets rejected by the department stores, or it gets rejected because the size is not proper and all those stuff. So what we do is we pick up and we are playing a very small role in ensuring that we try to help in the climate change issues. Uh, Now, if you look at, I'm just looking at the statistics. Now, what is happening is that if you look at in uh, in the world, you almost around 23 million tons of food cereals, 12 million tons of fruits, and almost around 21 million of vegetables are getting wasted. So how do we change? RHA, what it does is we do not collect money and other stuff, but we help. We have in our organization from 6 years to 83 years. The main mission, they joined RHA for a mission, that is to pick up, mainly give smiles or spread happiness to the needy people. Now, as Vikas said, now if you look at what is the number of liters that is being used for producing a rice, it's almost around 5,000 liters, and even for the wheat, it comes to almost around 2000 liters of water is being used for the consumption of wheat and water. Likewise, the mini, in terms of fruits, it's almost around 800 to 1000 liters of water is being utilized for the fruits. So what we do, no, so what we are contributing as RHA is uh, ensuring the pickup of the excess food. We call it as an excess food, or the vegetables or the fruits, and distribute to the needy people. Because we ensure, because we also know that once it goes, normally what used to happen is, before RHA, the food used to be thrown out in the garbage, and that creates lot of emission problems, which we felt carbon dioxide problems are there. So we wanted to reduce that. It's not only about picking up the food, we also try to educate our donors, or from where we pick up. For example, there is a well-known bakery in Hyderabad who used to give us excess puffs and all the stuff. But what we did is, slowly we used to pick up the food, so that we do our part in ensuring that there is no wastage of food. But also we educated them that why don't you reduce the production cost of the things, and that way what is happening is, they were able to reduce the wastage, not only by us helping them, but also because they reduce the production of the items that they have done. Like, you can take a puffs and other things, they should reduce it. So that is the main thing. Also, if you look at the study, what is happening is, 40% of food gets wasted before it is even sent to the people's home. What I mean to say is, because of the vegetables, the fruits, and other stuff. So what do? We need to ensure that we reduce and in the help in ensuring that we help and do some changes in the climate. Now, how do we help it out? If you look at it, if you look at the 2021 food report, it is mentioned that 34% of all man-made greenhouse gas emissions are generated by food systems. This also shows that in an average of 2 tons of carbon dioxide emissions per person annually. What is the link between food wastage and climate change? When we waste food, we also waste all the energy and water it takes to grow, harvest, transport, and package. And if food goes to the landfill and rots, it produces methane, a greenhouse gas, even more potent than this. Now, what we have done in the government schools, few of the government schools, is we are trying to help them and saying that, why don't we use millets as an alternative mechanism for the food. So we are planning to implement that. We might, or depending on now, since the corona is because of this corona issue, we are not able to implement it. Though that is one of the alternate mechanisms for that. Because we need, as a organization, Robin Hood Army, what we have, our strength is the volunteers who have passion, who are very, very passionate to help the system, and also ensuring that we do a bit in the reduction, or helping, or the prevention of the shortage of food. Now, if you look at it, the food loss and waste is a major part of the impact of the agriculture on climate change. Now, moreover, food waste that is not handled or reclaimed properly through compositing can have a negative environmental consequences. For example, a landfill gas of organic matter in a major source of greenwood gas, methane. So we are trying to reduce the food wastage across. If you look at the UN Sustainable Development Goal target 12.3, it says that it seeks to have global per capita food wastage at the retail and the consumer level and reduce food losses along production and supply chains. If you look at what is the percentage of food wastage as per the Food Index 2021, 61% of wastages happen at the household level, and the remaining 40% happens in the retail shops and the other places. So, what we need to do is we need to educate. So, Robin Hood Army is playing a major role in ensuring that we actually even not only pick up the excess food, we try to educate the donors or we educate the people that why don't we try and find out an alternate mechanism to reduce the production cost. I'll just give an example, and I will log off. I'll just sign off. We had a program where we always inform the people that in Hyderabad that if you have any marriages or any function, please call us. We got a call, I think a year back before the corona, where one of my friends called me and said that we have an ad hoc, we have a marriage function hall in after a month. So we are expecting 1,000 people wastage food for 1,000 people. So I just asked him, why are you trying to, why don't you reduce the production? He said, sorry, even if it is wastage, it is fine. But we need to go ahead with this plan. So we need to educate people to also ensure that we have to think about also what is the impact of wastage of food in the climate. And once we people understand, like when I was going through this topic, I really understood that okay, this is a consumption or the for producing a 1 kg rice, you have to produce or have consume almost around 5,000 liters. Then I understood, na, and then since 2017, when we started from RHA, when I joined RHA in 2016, we have we try to implement that. Okay, let us try. There are few tips that we can help in plan ahead and buy only what you need. People will just go to the grocery shop and purchase whatever they want. We should plan, and then we could use a freezer. And there are alternate mechanisms to be very creative, act very creatively, and try to reduce the wastage of food. And I thank Vikas and Nishant for letting me speak on this topic. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Food is a major contributor to the climate change, and wasting food is in a way crime, and it's a huge toll on the natural resources available too. And Robin Hood Army is an amazing organization, and the spirit of volunteers, that's just amazing. And recently, Robin Hood Army also started Green Initiative. They started taking a plantation activity, seed balls activity, and with a network of thousands of volunteers. So, going ahead, RHA can be a spiriting driving force for the Green Initiative, sir.
Thanks for inviting us, and also thank you, Vikas, for letting us be RHA be a part of the Green Initiative also.
Pamela Malhotra Garu, this is an amazing journey. Uh, I heard this quote called "One Life and One Mission." I would say their life is one such thing, which aptly suits that quote of "One Life and One Mission." As a couple, Pamela Garu and Anil Garu, they started India's one of the first private forest and wildlife sanctuaries. They have converted hundreds of acres into vibrant and thick forest. And not just that, they have engaged the community in the vicinity, and they have freed forest land which is occupied by private people there, and they developed that into a forest also. And apart from that, they conduct a lot of workshops, and they are part of many groups nationally and internationally too. And I now invite Pamela Garu to take us through the journey. What triggered her to start this initiative and how did they go about it? This is a wonderful case study for all of us to learn from and replicate. Thank you so much for being a part of the panel. I now invite Pamela Garu to address the audience.
My name is Pamela Gail Malhotra, and I am the wife and partner of Dr. Anil Kumar Malhotra. And as you so kindly mentioned, our work at Csos Sanctuary. Initially, the lands that we bought were abandoned plantation lands, which freed up the lands for reforestation. As far as how the reforestation took place, it depended on what had been growing in the plantation land before we bought it. If it had been a cardamom area, then that was relatively easy to reclaim for Mother Nature and reforest, because cardamom uses a lot of shade for growing. And so the big grandmother shade trees, I like to call them, the native grandmother trees, were still standing. So it was relatively easy to allow that area to go back to nature with some help here and there. But the coffee growing areas were much more challenging. They were more challenging because of the fact that coffee areas prefer more sun. So most of the trees, a lot of the trees had been cut down in a lot of deforestation. So in order to know what trees to replant, we talked to local people, naturalists, the tribals living in the area, but we mainly relied on Mother Nature herself to show us what trees to use from the areas in the cardamom and in any areas that were still left relatively untouched by humans. And we would plant those trees. Over the decades now, we still do reforestation in some areas, but most of it is done by Mother Nature. And one of the most important things is the role that wildlife plays in reforestation. Wildlife are the forest architects, and the chief architect is the elephants. They are critically important to spreading our forests because they alone can swallow the large seeds of the best carbon sequestration trees in the area. None of the other animals can do this. They can't swallow the seed whole. And therefore, the elephants are critical as they walk around to drop these seeds with their load of dung, which is a great fertilizer, to give the forest, rejuvenate the forest with new saplings and to expand it. So wildlife is really critically important because without these larger canopy trees that are the best at sequestering carbon, the forest itself becomes less efficient in being able to helping us in mitigating the effects of carbon change. So we have to work with wildlife in this regard. There have been a number of studies about this. Some of the quotes from the studies include losing wildlife, especially from tropical forest areas, which most of India falls into that tropical forest area category. Losing wildlife is equal to emitting carbon into the atmosphere without cutting a single tree. The loss of the wildlife causes the decline in those large seeded animal dispersed trees, and India is suffering from this lack of dispersal as well because of the Asian elephant being very endangered and because of the fact its migration areas have been so fragmented, forests are fragmented by human habitation. So as the forest becomes less efficient at storing carbon, we end up having the problems in the form of severe climate events that we're seeing taking place across the planet, as well as problems with our agriculture, crops not having enough water on one side with droughts, having too much water with floods on the other. drying up under the heat of the sun because there are no trees that are being used to shade the crops. So forest and agriculture actually go hand in hand. They always have, and we need to revive that concept back in India, looking at how our ancients did it, how they kept the forest intact, used native trees to help them bring in timely monsoons, leaf litter for nutrients, protection of soil during rain because of the roots holding onto the soil and not running off, and the wildlife, because there have been studies also that show where wildlife gather under native trees to eat, etc., the carbon in the soil is higher than any other place within the forest area. If you remove especially large wildlife from the forest cannot take care of absorbing as much carbon in the soil or the trees themselves. We have certainly had our, I don't know whether you would call it fair share or unfair share of challenges during this journey. When we came to this area, our presence actually hindered a lot of illegal works. There was a very organized timber mafia. It's still organized, and also wild game meat. And they would come in, they would kill wildlife, cut native trees, and then cart it through the Brahmagiri Wildlife Sanctuary where we border to take to Kerala for sale. Our presence hindered that completely and has made a huge difference both in illegal logging as well as in wildlife being protected. So much so that the Forest Department has told us a number of times how much positive impact we have had in stopping these illegal activities, which has helped wildlife recover and the forest recover, which means it helps us recover, both from the climate change point of view and because forests are so critically important when it comes to having fresh water sources for our agriculture, manufacturing, educational, health facilities, everything. Now, we have worked so closely with the Forest Department and the Police Department to help in stopping these activities. We've used camera traps within our own sanctuary to catch these criminals, and that has led to arrests as well as cases lodged against them. And so the activities have dropped dramatically to the point that the Brahmagiri Wildlife Sanctuary now has a permanent anti-poaching squad there on site. And the police go in also for training there on site. So this is a really wonderful, positive step for us all in every way. Other legal battles have involved us stopping proposed projects that would have devastated the forests. We've used local, state, union officials, including from the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, have gone to the National Green Tribunal. We've used the media a lot. The media can be very, very helpful in raising awareness and spreading the word when they're being careful that what they're spreading is the truth. Local people that have been affected, we've been working with them, and the justice system. India's justice system is really one of the main things that has helped protect India from losing all of its forests altogether. But it takes people to file PILs, people's interest litigations, in order to get the justice system involved in a case to stop a problem. Whether it's cutting a railway, some of the examples, 4 dams that were proposed for the Brahmagiri Wildlife Sanctuary, we successfully stopped that. There was a dam in Ponimpet, also a large one, which would have sunk all kinds of acreage of forest as well as local people's areas. got that stopped, a railway right through the Brahmagiri Wildlife Sanctuary and a major highway that was planned right through it. We got all of these mega projects stopped using these various tactics, as I mentioned, both from the point of view of media as well as working with local people and the MLAs, etc. Some of the other things that we have been able to stop include the capture and use of elephants in zoos and the export of animals abroad for inhumane, cruel tests. So, and in this particular regard, we have worked with other NGOs. This is where it was being talked about before, where we need to work together. This is exactly an example of that. All of these actually are examples where we worked with other NGOs and local people in order to make a difference. Some of the work done that we have done with the government include the union government, states government, as well as internationally with the United Nations, is related to the concept of conservation in different areas, but the promotion of the concept of the private forest as a way of reforesting and rewilding India, as well as around the world. We have given this topic a lot of exposure in discussions and presentations. I have no idea how many presentations I've given. They are in the hundreds, if not touching thousands at this point, to various groups, schools, students of every age, the National Cadet Corps, Forest Service of India, very recently, religious and spiritual organizations, other NGOs and other SCOs, CSOs, and including legal organizations as well. The Attorneys Organization in Bangalore and the Justices of Bangalore also that were brought in to hear presentations on the need to protect our environment in order to protect ourselves for the future. Private forests today, as a result of discussions with various groups and spreading this concept, private forests today, including Csos Sanctuary, are now listed as an OECM. OECM stands for Other Effective Conservation Method. And this is now recognized by the Union Government of India's Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change and the United Nations and IUCN. These private forests can make a very big difference. And working with policy decision makers, we need to make some policy changes in order to make private forests easier to set up. And we are currently working with a member of the Karnataka State Planning Commission on these very proposals. One of the examples of things that should be done, not just in our state, but across India, is there needs to be a new land classification for private forest, not as part of a plantation, not as part of agriculture, but it should have its own designation as a private forest. The revenue tax certificates, RTCs, are certificates needed by owners of lands in order to get loans or for selling properties, according to certain types of lands like Bane lands in Karnataka. There are hundreds of acres of Bane lands that are not registered, and as a result, the Revenue Tax Department is not getting any tax off of it because you have to plant, according to their rules, you have to plant coffee on every single inch of that land. Now, this is clearly not something that incentivizes anyone to do anything for reforestation. So what we're proposing is a change to this RTC rule where those who want to produce, grow private forests like we have, which will be helpful in climate change mitigation, protection of our water sources, biodiversity protection for food, medicines, et cetera, and human-animal conflicts, because the more forests are pieced back together, the less reason for animals to come out and go into human habitation. We want to see this change where people that own these lands and are willing to plant forests, trees, native endemic trees on these lands, and are willing to pay the revenue tax as if it had been assessed for coffee, should be allowed to do this and not have to cut down the trees there, not have to plant coffee everywhere, but protect the existing trees that are there and expand them. This way they can get loans with an RTC, a revenue tax certificate. The revenue department gets its taxes, and the owners could sell with stipulations that these forest lands must be resold and kept as forest lands. And this way you're protecting the whole concept all the way around. Another change that we would like to see, and actually it's a reinstating a column that used to be on the RTC. There used to be a column years and years ago called Tree Bank. This column gave a value for the native trees that were growing on a property. This value increased the overall value of the planter's lands, so he could go for better, higher loans as a result. It also incentivized him to protect those trees because they became very valuable to them. Now, for whatever reason, this tree bank column has been deleted from the RTC. Just putting that tree bank column back into the revenue tax certificate would be another incentive for planters to protect what native trees they have, and to plant more native trees as shade trees or along the riparian, the river areas, increasing migration routes, biological corridors between the different plantations in order to help us from a climate change point of view, a water point of view, helping the planters also with better soil from the native tree leaf litter, less runoff because the native trees hold the soil better with their roots, all this host of different things. So just that put back on the RTCs would help. So as far as our future plans are concerned, we are planning on doing what we've been doing, which is to continue to protect and preserve forests and wildlife, including purchasing additional lands whenever and wherever possible, and encouraging others to take up this cause in quest. Because friends, families, businesses, other NGOs, other CSOs, we are trying to help them and have actually already helped a number of people and groups in this regard in order to get them to take up the cause of the private forest concept. We are also getting the local people involved as well by doing organic workshops and handing out free saplings in the thousands for native tree shading. And also organic farming is actually been proven in studies to help sequester more carbon in the soils of organic farms than in conventional farming areas. If I had advice to give to the youth to take this movement forward, I would say believe in your dreams and then take action to make those dreams become reality. And be brave and don't get discouraged. Do not let opposition of your vision of a green, vibrant, renewable, full Mother Earth and your plans to bring her about, don't let opposition stop you from doing what you know in your heart is right. Follow your heart. follow your conscience. Be creative, be inventive, and share your vision and work with others who share your vision, and help share it to inspire others to share your vision and work with it. We do collaborate with NGOs already, as I mentioned, and we're working on various issues legally, using the media, spreading education and awareness, getting expert advice, et cetera, et cetera. So we welcome working with other NGOs and CSOs, and we are grateful for the time you've given us to share our small quest and effort that we've made toward forest, wildlife, climate change, and a greener India and Earth. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Pamela. It was a very, very impressive presentation. You've covered an entire spectrum of your work has covered the entire spectrum of the activities what could have been possible as a environmentalist, and the kind of inclusiveness with which you have carried out your work, that's also very impressive, in the sense that you have worked with the NGOs, the locals, the legal people, the police, the law enforcement, and the educational institutions. So it's like a very holistic approach you have taken, and there's a lot to learn from this approach.
Clearly communicates a 360-degree approach that we need to take. The approach is so holistical, and we need a replicable model, and we have to take it forward at every geographical area possible.
So, the civil society organization ద్వారా and climate change ద్వారా part of green revolution గురించి మాట్లాడుతున్నాం. 15 years ago నేను, నిశాంత్ అండ్ రమణి ముగ్గురం కలిసి ధర్మసేవ అనే ట్రస్ట్ ఫామ్ చేయడం జరిగింది. ఎన్జిఓ ట్రస్ట్. ఆ రోజు నుంచి ఈ రోజు వరకు కొన్ని సేవా కార్యక్రమాలు చేస్తూనే ఉన్నాం. అందులో భాగంగా ముఖ్యంగా 2009లో ఎన్విరాన్మెంటల్ ప్రొటెక్షన్ ఎఫార్టేషన్ కింద 1 lakh ఫ్రూట్ ప్లాంట్స్ ని సప్లై చేయడం జరిగింది, ప్లాంటేషన్ చేయడం జరిగింది. అంతేకాకుండా ఇంటింటికి కూడా ఇవ్వడం జరిగింది. కొన్నింట్లో 2-3 మొక్కలు ఇస్తే వాళ్ళు ఈరోజు పాతుకున్నారు. ఈరోజు వాళ్ళ ఇంట్లోకి పోతే నాకు వాళ్ళు ఫ్రూట్స్ కూడా పోషిస్తుంటారు, మనం ఏమైతే ప్లాంట్స్ ఇచ్చినామో అవి. రెండోది విపాసన మెడిటేషన్ ప్రమోట్ చేయడం జరిగింది. మూడోది లీగల్ ఫైట్ ఫర్ మిటిగేషన్ ఆఫ్ ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ లైక్ డ్రగ్ అబ్యూస్ మీద కానీ, డిఫారెస్టేషన్ మీద కానీ, ఫుడ్ అడల్టరేషన్ మీద పనిచేయడం జరిగింది, ఫైట్ చేయడం జరిగింది. రీసెంట్ అచీవ్మెంట్ ఏంటంటే డ్రగ్ అబ్యూస్ మీద లోకాయుక్తలో జడ్జ్మెంట్ కూడా రావడం జరిగింది ఇన్ ఫేవర్ ఆఫ్ us. ఇది ప్రయత్నం చేసినాం, సక్సెస్ అయినాము. అంతేకాకుండా ఈరోజు డిఫారెస్టేషన్ ఏ విధంగా జరుగుతుందంటే మన డైరెక్ట్ ఇండైరెక్ట్ గా చాలా రకాలుగా డిఫారెస్టేషన్ జరుగుతుంది. డైరెక్ట్ గా అంటే మాఫియా కట్టెలు కొట్టుకుపోవడం కానీ, ఈ పోడు భూములు వాళ్ళు దాన్ని కాల్ చేసి పోడు భూములుగా తయారు చేసుకోవడం కానీ, ఇండైరెక్ట్ గా అంటే ఫైర్ వుడ్ కోసం కట్ చేసుకోవడము, ఈ విధంగా డైరెక్ట్ గా ఇండైరెక్ట్ గా డిఫారెస్టేషన్ జరుగుతూ ఉంది. సో దానిలో భాగంగా నిశాంత్ గారు ఇంతకుముందు చాలా లాస్ట్ 2 months కింద ఈ రైనీ సీజన్ స్టార్ట్ అయ్యే ముందు సీడ్ బాల్స్ అనేది దాన్ని మా ముందుకు తీసుకురావడం జరిగింది. ఆ సీడ్ బాల్స్ ని మేము పర్చేజ్ చేసినాం కాకుండా చాలా వాళ్ళతో పర్చేజ్ చేయించి మరి ఫారెస్ట్ లో అవన్నీ కూడా చల్లడం జరిగింది. సో ఇటువంటి ఈ కార్యక్రమాలు ఇవే కాకుండా చాలా కార్యక్రమాలు హెల్త్ ఇష్యూస్ మీద కానీ పనిచేయడం జరిగింది. యూజ్ టాయ్స్ ఏవైతే ఉన్నాయో ఆ యూజ్ టాయ్స్ కలెక్ట్ చేసి పూర్ పీపుల్ కు ఇవ్వడం జరిగింది. ఇట్లా ప్రతి విషయంలో కూడా పనిచేస్తూ మరి ఈ రోజు వరకు మరి ఎక్కువ విపాసన మీద పనిచేయడం జరిగింది. విపాసన అందరికి తెలియదు, విపాసన అంటే ఎందుకు కూడా తెలియదు. అది యాక్చువల్లీ విపాసన, ద ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ఆఫ్ విపాసన ఇస్ నాట్ ద బుద్ధ. బుద్ధుడు ఈ విద్యను కనుగొన్నాడు. ద ఆబ్జెక్ట్ అనేది బుద్ధుడు కాదు. ఇట్ ఈస్ అవేర్నెస్ ఆఫ్ మూమెంట్ టు మూమెంట్, చేంజింగ్ నేచర్ ఆఫ్ వన్స్ ఓన్ బాడీ అండ్ మైండ్. బాడీ అండ్ మైండ్ మీద పనిచేయడమే విపాసన యొక్క పని. సో విపాసన బుద్ధుడు కనిపెట్టినా కానీ బుద్ధుడు క్లియర్ గా చెప్పిండు, నేను దేవుని కాదు, నేను మీలాగా మనిషి, నేను ముక్తి పొందిన, మీరు కూడా ముక్తి పొందండి, మీ మీద పని చేయండి, మంచి జీవనం గడపండి అని కూడా చెప్పడం జరిగింది. ఇవాళ సైన్స్ చెప్తుంది, సైన్స్ అన్నిటి మీద పనిచేస్తుంది. ఇవాళ అన్ని కనిపెట్టింది, ఇవాళ కంప్యూటర్స్ కనిపెట్టింది, ఇవాళ కెమికల్స్ కనిపెట్టింది, ఇవాళ చెట్టు పుట్ట కూడా ఏమున్నాగా అన్ని కూడా సైన్స్ క్లియర్ గా చెప్పింది. సైన్స్ దేని మీద చెప్పింది? సైన్స్ అనేది ఒక మ్యాటర్ మీదే చెప్పింది, బాడీ మీద మ్యాటర్ మీద చెప్పడం జరిగింది. కానీ మైండ్ మీద ఇప్పటివరకు ఎవరు పని చేయలేదు. ఇవాళ సైన్స్ పని చేయలేదు మైండ్ మీద. సైన్స్ మీద, బాడీ మీద పనిచేసింది గౌతమ్ బుద్ధుడు ఇవాళ. సో ఆ విధంగా విపాసన ఎక్కువ ప్రమోట్ చేయడం జరిగింది ఈ ధర్మసేవ ట్రస్ట్ ద్వారా, ఈ ఎన్జిఓ ద్వారా. సో ఇవాళ నేను చెప్పే విషయాలు ఏంటంటే 4 విషయాల మీద ధర్మసేవ ఏవి చేసిందో చెప్పడం జరిగింది. ఇప్పుడు రెండోది, ఇండియా లెవెల్లో 5 ఎన్జిఓస్ ఇవాళ చాలా ఎన్జిఓస్ పనిచేస్తూ ఉన్నాయి. ఒక టాప్ 5 ఎన్జిఓస్ గురించి నేను ఒక్కొక్క లైన్లో మాట్లాడతా. దాని తర్వాత వరల్డ్లో జరుగుతున్నటువంటి కొన్ని ఎన్జిఓస్ గురించి మాట్లాడిన తర్వాత విపాసన మీద క్లియర్ గా చెప్పడం జరుగుతుంది. నా మైండ్ సబ్జెక్ట్ ఇది మైండ్. ఇవాళ మైండ్ ఏ విధంగా పనిచేస్తుంది, మైండ్ పొల్యూట్ అవ్వడం వల్లనే ఈ రోజు ప్రపంచం అంతా పొల్యూట్ అవుతుంది. మైండ్ అనేది మంచిగా ఉన్నప్పుడే కదా మనం సక్సెస్ అవుతాం. జస్ట్ ఇవాళ పుస్తకాలు చదువుకొని చేసినంత మాత్రాన కుదిరేది. మనసు లోపల రావాలి. మనసు లోపల వచ్చినప్పుడు మనం ఏమైనా సాధించగలుగుతాం. సో మైండ్ ఈజ్ మోర్ ఇంపార్టెంట్. ఇవాళ బాడీ అండ్ మైండ్, మైండ్ మాత్రం 2 ఉన్నాయి. మ్యాటర్ మీద మాత్రమే మేము పనిచేస్తున్నాం. సైన్స్ అంతా మ్యాటర్ మీదే పనిచేసింది, మైండ్ మీద పనిచేయలేదు. సో మైండ్ కనబడదు కాబట్టి, సో మైండ్ ఈజ్ మోర్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ అని నేను అనుకుంటే కాదు, అది నిజమే అది. సో ఈరోజు ఇండియా లెవెల్లో బెస్ట్ 5 ఎన్జిఓస్ గురించి ఒకసారి మనం తెచ్చుకుంటే, స్మైల్ ఫౌండేషన్ ఈ రోజు పనిచేస్తా ఉంది. అది చిల్డ్రన్స్ హెల్త్ అండ్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ మీద పనిచేస్తా ఉంది, స్మైల్ ఫౌండేషన్. అట్లనే గివ్ ఇండియా ఫౌండేషన్, గివ్ ఇండియా ఫౌండేషన్ ఏంటంటే గ్రాస్ రూట్ ఫౌండేషన్ వర్క్ చేస్తుంది, అంటే కింది లెవెల్ నుంచి పనిచేసుకుంటూ వస్తుంది. అదేవిధంగా నాన్హీ ఖాళీ ఫౌండేషన్ గర్ల్ చైల్డ్ మీద పనిచేస్తూ ఉంది. గర్ల్ చైల్డ్కి ఏ విధంగా బాధలు ఏ విధంగా పడుతుంది దాని మీద పనిచేస్తుంది ఎక్కువ. ఒక్కొక్కరు ఒక సబ్జెక్ట్ తీసుకొని దాని మీద పనిచేస్తూ ఉన్నారు. అదేవిధంగా గుంజ్ ఇండియా వాళ్ళు దే మొబిలైజ్ రీసైకబుల్ అండ్ రీయూజబుల్ ఐటమ్స్ కలెక్ట్ చేయడం, అంటే క్లాత్స్ కానీ, బుక్స్ కానీ, గ్రెయిన్స్ కానీ, ఇవన్నీ కలెక్ట్ చేయడం అంటే 1 కాదు 2 కాదు, దగ్గర మంత్లీ వాళ్ళు 70,000 kgs ఆఫ్ మెటీరియల్ కలెక్ట్ చేస్తుంటే డిస్ట్రిబ్యూట్ చేస్తుంది. సో ఇట్లా ఒక్కొక్క పని మీద చేస్తూ ఉండే హెల్ప్ పేజ్ ఇండియా, అది కూడా చాలా మంది పూర్ పీపుల్ కు, ముఖ్యంగా ఎల్డర్లీ పీపుల్ మీద పనిచేస్తూ ఉంది. వాళ్ళకి కావాల్సిన అన్ని వసతులు, వాళ్ళు అంటే ఐసైట్ విషయంలో కానీ, కాంటాక్ట్ ఐ విషయంలో కానీ, వాళ్ళకు హెల్త్ విషయంలో కానీ, ఫిజియోథెరపీ విషయంలో కానీ, అన్ని విషయాల్లో కూడా అది పనిచేస్తూ ఉంది పూర్ పీపుల్కి, ఎల్డర్లీ పీపుల్కి, హెల్ప్ ఇండియా. సో ఇట్లా రకరకాలుగా ఆర్గనైజేషన్స్ ఈరోజు ఉన్నాయి. ఒక్కొక్కరు ఒక సబ్జెక్ట్ మీద పనిచేస్తారు. అన్ని కూడా మ్యాటర్కి సంబంధించినవి, మైండ్కి సంబంధించినవి కాదు. ఈ మ్యాటర్ దుఃఖం ఎందుకు వచ్చింది, వాళ్ళకి ఆ బాధ ఎందుకు వచ్చింది, ఆ బాధ కారణం ఏందనేది కూడా మనం అర్థం చేసుకొని ముందుకు అవసరం ఉంది. ఇంతకుముందు ఫారెస్ట్ మీద చాలా చక్కగా చెప్పింది పమేలా గారు. సో అట్లనే మైండ్ మీద కూడా మనం పనిచేయాల్సిన అవసరం ఉంది. ఒక మ్యాటర్ మీదే కాదు, ఫారెస్ట్ మ్యాటర్ కాకుండా మైండ్ అనేది మోర్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ అని నేను అనుకుంటున్నా. అదేవిధంగా ఇవాళ వరల్డ్ విషయంలో ఆలోచిస్తే చాలా పెద్ద ఆర్గనైజేషన్స్ ఉన్నాయి. కొన్ని ఎన్జిఓస్ ఫైనాన్స్, చాలా పెద్ద ఫైనాన్స్ కూడా ఉన్నాయి. అందులో ఒకటి నాకు తెలిసినట్టు బంగ్లాదేశ్ లో BRAC అనే ఒక ఎన్జిఓ పనిచేస్తూ ఉంది. అది బంగ్లాదేశ్ రూరల్ అడ్వాన్స్మెంట్ ఆఫ్ కమిటీ దాని పేరు. ఫౌండర్ ఏమో ఫజల్ హసన్ ఆబిద్ అని దాని ఫౌండర్. దీనికి ఇది ఒకటే కాదు, ఇది ఏం చేస్తుందంటే సోషల్ డెవలప్మెంట్ పనిచేస్తుంది, సోషల్ ఎంటర్ప్రైజెస్ మీద పనిచేస్తుంది, అండ్ ఇన్వెస్ట్మెంట్ కూడా చేస్తుంది. ఇవాళ ఇన్సూరెన్స్ లో వాళ్ళు 10% ఇన్వెస్ట్ చేసింది. వాళ్ళ కాలేజ్లో ఇన్వెస్ట్ చేస్తుంది. ఒక యూనివర్సిటీని స్థాపించింది. వాళ్ళ కొన్ని ఫ్యాక్టరీలు ఏర్పాటు చేసిండ్రు. ఆ ఫ్యాక్టరీల వల్ల వచ్చే అంటే ప్రజలకు ఏవైతే వస్తువులు ఇవ్వాలో ఆ వస్తువులను తయారు చేసుకుంటూ వాళ్ళే తయారు చేస్తూ వాళ్ళే ఇస్తారు వాళ్ళ. సో దానికి డోనర్స్ కూడా చాలా పెద్ద డోనర్స్ ఉన్నారు. వీళ్ళ గవర్నమెంట్ ఆఫ్ నెదర్లాండ్ వాళ్ళకు అతిపెద్ద డోనర్, వాళ్ళ గవర్నమెంట్ ఆఫ్ ఆస్ట్రేలియా, గవర్నమెంట్ ఆఫ్ UK, ఇట్లా. అది కాకుండా బిల్ అండ్ మిలిందా గేట్స్ ఫౌండేషన్ కూడా వాళ్ళకు ఫైనాన్స్ చేస్తూ ఉంది. చాలా కంపెనీస్ ఫైనాన్స్ చేస్తూ ఉన్నాయి. సో నాకు తెలిసిన మటుకు వరల్డ్ ఒక పెద్ద NGO, ఒక పెద్ద ఫైనాన్స్ ఫండ్తో ఉంది అంటే అది బిఆర్ఏసి బంగ్లాదేశ్కి సంబంధించిన ఎన్జిఓ అది. సో ఈ ఎన్జిఓ ఇవాళ 13 దేశాల్లో పనిచేస్తా ఉంది. ఒక బంగ్లాదేశ్నే కాకుండా ఈవెన్ మన నేపాల్లో, పాకిస్తాన్లో, శ్రీలంకలో, ఇంకా ఆఫ్రికాలో ఇంకా 5-6 కంట్రీలు, మొత్తం 13 దేశాల్లో ఈ బిఆర్ఏసి పనిచేస్తా ఉంది. అదేవిధంగా వన్ ఆఫ్ ది బిగ్గెస్ట్ లార్జెస్ట్ ఆర్గనైజేషన్ ఇవాళ ఆర్ఎస్ఎస్ కూడా చెప్పచ్చు మనం. ఆర్ఎస్ఎస్ అనేది వాళ్ళ లార్జెస్ట్ వాలంటరీ ఆర్గనైజేషన్. ఇది ఫైనాన్స్ ఫండింగ్ మీద ఎక్కువ ఇది పనిచేస్తుంటే, ఆర్ఎస్ఎస్ అనేది లార్జెస్ట్ వాలంటరీ ఆర్గనైజేషన్ మీద పనిచేస్తుంది. వీళ్ళకున్న వాలంటరీ దీని మీద వాళ్ళు ఎక్కువ సేవా కార్యక్రమాలు చేయగలుగుతున్నారు. వాళ్ళ ఫైనాన్స్ తక్కువ పెట్టి శరీర శ్రమ ఎక్కువ చేస్తా ఉన్నారు వాళ్ళు. సో ఇది కూడా 156 దేశాల్లో విస్తరించింది. వాళ్ళ ఆర్ఎస్ఎస్ కూడా చాలా దేశాల్లో విస్తరించింది. సో ఈ 2 ఎగ్జాంపుల్స్ ఎందుకు తీసుకుంటున్నా అంటే, ఇదేమో ఆర్ఎస్ఎస్ అనేది వాలంటరీ ఆర్గనైజేషన్, అండ్ ఏదో బంగ్లాదేశ్లో ఉన్న ఏదో ప్రజలకు ఎక్కువ సేవ చేస్తూ ఉంది. ఎక్కువ ఫైనాన్స్, వాళ్ళకు సరిపోయే ఫైనాన్స్ ఇన్వెస్ట్మెంట్స్ ఉన్నాయి. ఒకటి ఢాకాలో యూనివర్సిటీ కూడా కట్టడం జరిగింది. ఆ యూనివర్సిటీ ద్వారా కూడా వాళ్ళు చదువు ఫ్రీగా నేర్పిస్తూ ఉన్నారు. సో ఇట్లా అన్ని రకాలుగా ఈ ఫౌండేషన్ ఉపయోగపడతా ఉంది. సో నేను లాస్ట్ చెప్పేది ఏంటంటే, విపాసన అనేది ఇట్స్ నాన్ సెక్టేరియన్ ఆర్గనైజేషన్. ఇది ఒక మతానికో ఒక కులానికో సంబంధించింది కాదు, మన మనసుకు సంబంధించిన విద్య ఇది. దాని మీద ఇది ఆర్ఎస్ఎస్ మన విపాసన ఆర్గనైజేషన్ పనిచేస్తూ ఉంది, నాన్ సెక్టేరియన్ ఆర్గనైజేషన్ పనిచేస్తూ ఉంది. ఇది ఈరోజు ప్రపంచంలో అన్ని దేశాల్లో విస్తరించింది. ఎంత విస్తరించింది అంటే, మన దేశంలో ఈరోజు విపాసన గురించి ఆలోచిస్తే 100కు పైన సెంటర్లు అయినాయి. సెంటర్ అంటే ఏదో ఒక రూమ్లోనో ఒక చేసేదే కాదు, మీ ఒక్కొక్క సెంటర్ కూడా మినిమం 5 ఎకరాల నుంచి 100 ఎకరాల వరకు కూడా విస్తరించింది. అన్నిటికన్నా చిన్న సెంటర్ ఈరోజు 1 ఎకర్లో విస్తరించింది, నిజామాబాద్లో ఉంది. దాని ఖర్చు మంత్లీ 25,000 మాత్రమే. చిన్న సెంటర్ అది, ఒక 50 మందికి మాత్రమే అది అక్కడ టీచ్ చేయగలుగుతుంది. మిగతా సెంటర్ కూడా 100 నుంచి దగ్గర 150 వరకు. అది కాకుండా విగత్పురి సెంటర్ ఏదైతే ఉందో అది 1000 మందికి కూడా ఎట్ ఏ టైం నేర్పించే శక్తి అక్కడ వసతులు అక్కడ ఉన్నాయి. అంటే ఆశ్రమ సెంటర్ అనగానే ఒక సింగిల్ రూమ్ ఉండాలా, వాళ్ళకి అటాచ్ బాత్రూమ్స్ ఉండాలా, మెడిటేషన్ హాల్స్ ఉండాలా. మెడిటేషన్ హాల్స్ అంటే ఇంగ్లీష్ టీచింగ్ హాల్స్ ఉంటాయి, హిందీ టీచింగ్ హాల్స్ ఉంటాయి, తెలుగు టీచింగ్ హాల్స్ ఉంటాయి, ప్లస్ లోకల్ లాంగ్వేజెస్ టీచింగ్ హాల్స్ ఉంటాయి, ప్లస్ ఇంటర్నేషనల్ టీచింగ్ హాల్స్ ఉంటాయి. ఇది కాకుండా కిచెన్ 100, 200, 1000 మంది సరిపోయిన కిచెన్ వారిస్తాం. డైనింగ్ హాల్స్, లేడీస్ ఏరియా సపరేట్, మేల్స్ ఏరియా సపరేట్. సో ఈ విధంగా ఒక ఇగత్పురి సెంటర్ ను దాని వాల్యూ వాళ్ళ చూసుకుంటే అది 100 కోట్ల పైన ఉంటుంది. వాళ్ళ 150 ఎకరాలు ఉంది, ఇన్వెస్ట్మెంట్ 100 crores ఉంటుంది వాళ్ళ. సో ఇంత డబ్బు ఎక్కడి నుంచి వస్తుంది వాళ్ళ? నేను చెప్పేది ఏంటంటే, ఫైనాన్స్ అనేది వస్తుంది, ఇంత డబ్బు. ఇది మరి విపాసనలో మనం దానిలో రూల్స్ ఏమున్నాయంటే, ఎవరిని డబ్బు అడగద్దు, ఒకటి ఫ్రీ ఆఫ్ కాస్ట్ నేర్పించాలా. ఫ్రీ ఆఫ్ కాస్ట్ నేర్పించాలన్నప్పుడు ఇప్పుడు ఒక కోర్స్ జరిగింది, ఆ కోర్సులో ఒక 100 మంది నేర్పించడం, వాళ్ళు ఇచ్చిన డొనేషన్ తోని ఇతరులకు నేర్పిస్తా ఉన్నారు. మళ్ళీ కంపల్సరీ ఏం డొనేషన్ ఇంత ఇవ్వాలా అంత ఇవ్వాలా అని ఏం లేదు. ఇవాళ స్టూడెంట్ ఇవ్వలేరు, ఇవాళ కూలి పని చేసేవాళ్ళు ఇవ్వలేరు, అట్లా చాలా మంది ఉంటారు ఇవ్వని వాళ్ళు. ఇచ్చిన వాళ్ళు ఎక్కువ ఇస్తుంటారు. కొందరేమో అరే ఇది మాకు బాగా లాభమైంది, ఇంత మంచిదా టెక్నిక్ ఉందా అది అని చెప్పి కొందరైతే కొన్ని భూములు ఇస్తున్నారు, కొద్ది కోట్ల రూపాయలు కూడా ఇస్తా ఉన్నారు. ఇట్లా ఇప్పుడు ముంబైలో ఇవాళ గ్లోబల్ పగోడా ఏర్పాటు చేయండి, దానిపైన బుద్ధుని యొక్క రిలిక్స్ పెట్టి 10,000 మంది వితౌట్ పిల్లర్, స్టోన్ తో కన్స్ట్రక్ట్ చేసిండ్రు, వితౌట్ పిల్లర్. అది ఈరోజు 10,000 మంది ఎట్ ఏ టైం కూర్చోవచ్చు అక్కడ. గ్లోబల్ పగోడా మీరు సెర్చ్ చేయొచ్చు గూగుల్లో, కనబడుతుంది కూడా మ్యాప్స్ లో. సో అంత పెద్ద పగోడా ఇవాళ వచ్చి దానిపైన బుద్ధుని యొక్క రిలిక్స్ పెట్టడం జరిగింది. సో ఆ రిలిక్స్ నుంచి ఏవైతే వైబ్రేషన్ వస్తుంటుందో, మనలో ఉన్నటువంటి వైబ్రేషన్ ట్యూన్ అప్ అయ్యి మనకు మంచి వాతావరణం, మంచి ప్రశాంతత అనేది వస్తుంది. సో ఈ మెడిటేషన్ ద్వారా మైండ్ ఏ విధంగా కంట్రోల్ చేసుకోవాలి అనేది విపాసన నేర్పుతుంది తప్ప, అది ఇక్కడ ఏ సెక్ట్కి సంబంధించింది కాదు, ఏ కులానికి సంబంధించిందో కాదు ఇవాళ. సో దీంట్లో ఇవాళ ముస్లిమ్స్ వస్తుండ్రు, ఇవాళ క్రిస్టియన్స్ వస్తుండ్రు. ఇవాళ క్రిస్టియన్స్ ఆర్గనైజేషన్ అయితే వాళ్ళ ఫాదర్స్ కి కొన్ని ఆర్గనైజేషన్ తెలిసిన వాళ్ళు పెద్ద పెద్ద ఆర్గనైజేషన్స్ కొని వాళ్ళ ఫాదర్స్ కంపల్సరీ చేస్తుంది, నన్స్ కంపల్సరీ చేస్తుంది. కంపల్సరీ వాళ్ళ ఏదో ట్రైనింగ్ అయిపోయిన తర్వాత, ఫాదర్ ట్రైనింగ్ అయిపోయిన తర్వాత విపాసనకు పంపుతుంది వాళ్ళని. చాలా మంది వస్తారు, మేము అడుగుతారు, మాకు చెప్పిందే వాళ్ళు, ఎందుకు మీరు అంత చాలా మంది ఇట్లా వస్తున్నారు అంటే, మాకు కంపల్సరీ చేసిన విపాసన అని చెప్పేసి నన్స్ చెప్పడం జరిగింది, వాళ్ళ ఫాదర్ చెప్పడం జరిగింది వాళ్ళ. సో ఇట్లా ముస్లిం కంట్రీస్ లో కూడా, పాకిస్తాన్ లో స్టార్ట్ అయింది, దుబాయ్లో స్టార్ట్ అయింది, ఇవాళ ఇరాన్లో ఆశ్రమం కట్టడం జరిగింది, ఇరాన్లో విపాసన సెంటర్ రెడీ అయింది వాళ్ళ, దుబాయ్లో స్టార్ట్ అయింది ఇవాళ. సో పాకిస్తాన్లో కూడా కొన్ని మాస్క్లో కండక్ట్ చేయడం జరిగింది ఇండివిజువల్ గా. సో ఇట్లా ఈ మైండ్ మీద మనం ఎప్పుడైతే పని చేయగలుగుతామో, మనం ఇంకా డెవలప్మెంట్ చేయగలదు. అసలు ఈ ఆర్గనైజేషన్స్ కూడా రావు. గవర్నమెంట్ సరిగా పనిచేస్తే ఈ ఎన్జిఓస్ అవసరమే లేదు. అసలు మనకి సేవ చేయాల్సిన అవసరం కూడా లేదు. వాళ్ళు గవర్నమెంట్ సరిగా పనిచేయకనే ఎన్జిఓస్ వస్తున్నాయి. వాళ్ళ ప్రజలు దుఃఖంలో ఉన్నారు. ఆ దుఃఖానికి కారణం ఏంది? మన మనసే. ఈ సెన్సెస్ ద్వారా మన కళ్ళు, ముక్కు, నోరు, చెవులు, ఈ బాడీ, ఈ మనసు, ఈ సెన్సెస్ ద్వారా మనము డిఫైల్మెంట్స్ తయారు చేసుకుంటున్నాం. ఆ డిఫైల్మెంట్ క్లీన్ చేయడమే ఈ టెక్నిక్ యొక్క పని. ఎరేజర్, విపాసన అంటే ఒక ఎరేజర్. గీత గీసినాము, దాన్ని మలిపేయాలా, దానికి రబ్బరు ఎరేజర్తో మనం మలిపేస్తుంటాం. సో అట్లా మన లోపల కూడా రాగము, ద్వేషము, ఈర్ష, అసూయ, ఎన్నో రకాలైనటువంటి డిఫైల్మెంట్స్ తయారవుతున్నాయి. వల్ల ప్రతి నిమిషం ఎన్నో మనం పనులు చేసుకుంటుంటాం. పనులు సరిగా కాకపోతే బాధ, ఎవరో ఏదో అంటారని బాధ, అన్ని రకాలుగా మనం మనసు మీద తీసుకుంటాం. ఎంతమంది సూసైడ్ చేసుకుంటాను ఇవాళ. సో విపాసన ఎంతవరకు డెవలప్ అయింది అంటే ఇవాళ జైపూర్లో ఫస్ట్ జైల్ కోర్స్ చేయడం జరిగింది. జైపూర్లో జైల్ కోర్స్ అయిన తర్వాత కిరణ్ బేడి గారు కూడా అనుకోకుండా వారు విపాసన కోర్స్ చేసిండ్రు. ఆ టైంలో వారు ఢిల్లీలో ఉన్నటువంటి తిహార్ జైలుకు ఇన్ఛార్జ్ పోలీస్ ఆఫీసర్గా ఉంటారు. సో వారు ఏం చేసిందంటే ఆల్రెడీ జైపూర్లో ఇంట్రొడ్యూస్ చేసింది కాబట్టి సో తిహార్ జైల్లో కూడా ఇంట్రొడ్యూస్ చేద్దామని చెప్పేసి ఇంట్రొడ్యూస్ చేయడం జరిగింది. ఇవాళ తిహార్ జైల్లో కాశ్మీర్ టెర్రరిస్టులు విపాసన నేర్చుకున్న తర్వాత వాళ్ళు 4-5 కోర్సులు చేసిన తర్వాత సామాన్య జీవితం వాళ్ళు చేంజెస్, మార్పు జరిగిన తర్వాత వాళ్ళు రిలీజ్ చేయడం జరిగింది. సో ఇవాళ కాశ్మీర్లో వాళ్ళు ఇవాళ సామాన్య జీవితం గడుపుతా ఉన్నారు. వాళ్ళు మళ్ళా ఆ యాక్టివిటీస్లో పోలేదు. ఇవాళ వాళ్ళకి అర్థమైపోయింది ఎవరు ఒక మనిషిని చంపినామని చెప్పి అర్థం చేసుకుంది. వాళ్ళ కుక్క చంపుకుంటుంది, ఆ పిల్లిని చంపుకుంటుంది, మరి మనిషి ఎందుకు చంపుకుంటుండో అనేది ఆలోచిస్తుంది ఇవాళ. కాబట్టి సో ఇవాళ మతాలు, ఈ కోపాలు, తాపాలు ఇవన్నీ జరుగుతున్నాయి. సో మతాలలో ధర్మం రావాలి. ధర్మం లేకనే ఇవాళ మనము విడిపోయినాం. ఇవాళ ఈ కులం రూపంలో, మతం రూపంలో విడిపోయినాం. ఇవాళ అసలు ఒకటి కావాలంటే మైండ్ మీద పనిచేయాల్సిన అవసరం ఉంది. సో విపాసన అనేది ఒక ఎరైజర్, మన లోపల ఉన్నటువంటి డిఫైల్మెంట్స్, రాగద్వేష సంస్కారాలను క్లీన్ చేసుకుందానికి ఉపయోగపడే ఒక టెక్నిక్ మాత్రమే. బుద్ధుడు క్లియర్గా చెప్పాడు, నేను దేవుణ్ణి కాదు, నేను నా లోపల ఆత్మ అంటూ ఏమి లేదు. నేను నా లోపల ఉన్నటువంటి బయోకెమికల్స్ రియాక్షన్స్ ద్వారా ఏదైతే కెమికల్స్ తయారు చేసుకుంటున్నాం, కోపము, తాపము, ఈర్ష్య, అసూయతోని బయోకెమికల్ రియాక్షన్స్ జరిగి కొన్ని కెమికల్స్ డెవలప్ అవుతుంది బాడీలో. ఆ బాడీలో కెమికల్స్ డెవలప్ అయ్యి మనలో ఉన్నటువంటి కెమికల్స్ ని డ్యామేజ్, అవసరం పనికొచ్చే కెమికల్స్ ని డ్యామేజ్ చేస్తున్నాయి ఇవాళ. సో ఈ పనికిరాని కెమికల్స్ వచ్చేసి పనికొచ్చే కెమికల్స్ డ్యామేజ్ చేయడం వల్ల మళ్ళీ మనం ఏం చేస్తున్నాం, ఆలోపతి టెక్నిక్ ద్వారా ఇంకో కెమికల్ ని మనం యూజ్ చేసుకుంటాం. టాబ్లెట్ రూపంలో ఇంకో కెమికల్ వాడుతున్నాం ఇవాళ. సో ఈ కెమికల్స్ ఎందుకు రిలీజ్ అవుతున్నాయి ఈ బాడీలో, ఆ కెమికల్స్ ఎందుకు మన క్యాన్సర్ రూపంలో, ఇతర జబ్బుల రూపంలో మరి ఎందుకు వస్తున్నాయి ఇవాళ? ఒక కెమికల్స్ రూపంలో, ఒక మనసు రూపంలోనే కాదు, మన ఫుడ్ హ్యాబిట్స్ తో కూడా మనకి ఈ రోజు ఎన్నో రకాలుగా జబ్బులు వస్తున్నాయి ఇవాళ. ఒక సేయింగ్ ఉంది, మన నాలుకని జయిస్తే ప్రపంచాన్ని జయించవచ్చు అని. నాలుక చేసే పనులు ఏంటి? నాలుగు ఒకటి టేస్ట్, ఒకటి మాట. టేస్ట్ని కంట్రోల్ పెట్టుకున్నా, మాటని కంట్రోల్ పెట్టుకున్నా ఈ ప్రపంచాన్ని జయించేది ఒక సేయింగ్ ఉంది. సో అట్లనే విపాసన ద్వారా మనము ఈ నాలుకని కంట్రోల్ పెట్టుకోవచ్చు. మనం ఒక టేస్టే కాదు, మన మాటని కంట్రోల్ పెట్టుకో, అన్ని రకాలుగా మనం ముందుకు పోయే అవకాశం ఉంది. సో ఇవాళ చాలా మంది విపాసనలో డొనేషన్ విషయంలో ఎవరైతే చేసిన వాళ్ళు మాత్రమే డొనేషన్ ఇవ్వాలి. చాలా మంది వస్తుంటారు ఇవాళ, మేము ఒక 5 లక్షలు 10 లక్షలు విపాసనకి ఇంత మంచి ఆర్గనైజేషన్ నడుపుతుంది, మేము దానం ఇవ్వాలనుకుంటామని వస్తారు. సో విపాసన ఒకటే అడుగుతుంది వాళ్ళని, మీరు కోర్స్ చేసిందా అంటారు. లేదు, చేయలేదండి. కోర్స్ చేయండి, మీరు కోర్స్ చేసిన తర్వాత మేము దానం తీసుకుంటాం అని చెప్పడం జరుగుతుంది. కోర్స్ చేయని వాళ్ళ దగ్గర దానం తీసుకుంటలేదు వాళ్ళ విపాసన. ఎందుకు తీసుకుంటలేదు అంటే దాన్ని వాళ్ళు దేనికి ఇస్తున్నారు? ఒక దానం చేయాలనుకున్నప్పుడు, అది వాళ్ళకి లాభం జరిగినప్పుడు, ఇది ఫలానా, ఇది నాకు లాభం జరిగింది, నేను దీన్ని ఏమన్నా చేయాలనే ఆలోచన వాళ్ళకి వస్తుంది. కానీ ఏ ఆలోచన లేకుండా కేవలం వాళ్ళ ఒక ఇంటెన్షన్ ఏంది, దానం ఇస్తే నాకు మంచి అవుతుందేమో ఒక ఆలోచనతోనే వస్తారు. కానీ నాకేదో డబ్బు వస్తుందో, ఇంకేదో మంచి జరుగుతుందో ఆలోచనతో వస్తారు. కానీ నేను చెయ్యాలా, నా లోపల ఉన్నటువంటి ఈ మైలను, ఈ డిఫాల్మెంట్స్ క్లీన్ చేసుకోవాలని ఆలోచన వాళ్ళకి వస్తలేదు. కానీ వచ్చే వాళ్ళందరూ కూడా డబ్బు లేని వాళ్ళు వస్తారు, డబ్బు ఉన్న వాళ్ళు కూడా కావాల్సిన డబ్బు ఉంది, కానీ సుఖం లేదు, తృప్తి లేదు వాళ్ళ జీవితంలో. ఎన్నో బాధలు ఉన్నాయి వాళ్ళ. సో ఆ బాధలను క్లీన్ చేసుకుంటానికి ఇవాళ ఒకళ్ళు రావడం జరుగుతూ ఉంది. ఏ బాధలు లేని వాళ్ళు కూడా మనం ఆధ్యాత్మికంగా ఎదుగుదాము, స్పిరిచువల్గా ఎదుగుదామని చెప్పి కూడా రావడం జరుగుతూ ఉంది. కన్క్లూడ్ చేసే ముందు ఈ రోజు మనము ప్రపంచంలో భారతదేశం విశ్వగురు అవుతుంది అని చెప్పి చాలా మంది అంటుంటారు. భారతదేశం విశ్వగురు, ఎందుకు, ఎట్లా విశ్వగురు, దేంట్లో విశ్వగురు? ధ్యానం వల్లనే విశ్వగురి వల్ల. ధ్యానం చేసిన తర్వాత వాళ్ళు ఇండియన్స్ చూసినప్పుడు చాలా మంది కొంతమంది ఫ్రెండ్స్ వస్తుంటారు యుఎస్ నుంచి. వాళ్ళు విపాసన చేసిన తర్వాత వాళ్ళు అక్కడ ఉన్నటువంటి విదేశీయులు కూడా ఫారినర్స్ కూడా చేసినప్పుడు వాళ్ళు ఇండియన్స్ కలిసినప్పుడు వాళ్ళు మనస్ఫూర్తిగా అంటే నమస్కారం చేస్తారు. కారణం అయితే ఇండియా ఇంత గొప్పదా అంటే ఇంత ఈ మెడిటేషన్ అంటే ఇటువంటిదా అనేది ఇట్లా మనకు ఎవరికి తెలియదు అని చెప్పి చాలా వండర్ అవుతుంటాడు. అసలు ఏంది అసలు మెడిటేషన్ అంటే మేము ఏమో అనుకున్నాం మన లోపల ఉన్నటువంటి బయోకెమికల్ రియాక్షన్స్ ఈ విధంగా గమనిస్తామా, ఈ సెన్సేషన్స్ ఇంత పనిచేస్తున్నాయా, సెన్సేషన్స్ వల్ల మనకు ఇంత లాభం జరుగుతుందా అనేది కూడా చాలా విషయాలు చెప్పడం జరిగింది. సో ఎక్కువ టైం తీసుకోకుండా మరి నాకు ఈ అవకాశం ఇచ్చినందుకు నిశాంత్ అండ్ టీంకి థ్యాంక్ యూ చెప్తూ ముగిస్తాను.
Thank you, Captain Karnakar Reddy garu. You have covered another totally different perspective of looking at climate change, the connection between mental defilements and what's happening externally in the physical world. Basically, why are we all, what's common between all of us in this webinar, let's say? Why are we all together talking on a common subject? So there's something that is happening inside our minds. These are the qualities of empathy, qualities of compassion, the connect to the nature. So this is all going on in the mind. So that's what Captain Karnakar Reddy has talked about. The connection between what's happening outside and what's happening in the mind is a very deep connection. It's a subconscious which drives everything. So if we purify the mind by a technique like Vipassana, then automatically the actions performed by such a person will be benevolent to the environment, to the people around, to the living beings. Thank you, Karnakar Reddy garu.
Yeah, thank you.
Karunakar Reddy garu from Walk for Water organization. So, sir is a wonderful tech agent, is very enterprising and very dynamic. He believes in the simplicity of ideas. The simpler the idea, it's easy to scale it up. So he worked closely with Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Garu and he sees him as his guru. In his memory, he started Green India Challenge in the year 2018, July 27, the date when Kalam Garu passed away. He started with the simple thought of asking a person to plant trees and invited them to share that message and to 3 of their friends. And all of you might have seen that Green India Challenge is everywhere in social media and starting from celebrities to sports persons to politicians. So it has become global too with the name Green Challenge. And apart from that, he believes in the spirit of enterprise and all his life. Water is something, one cause which is deeply connected with. Why? Because during his childhood, he along with his family has struggled a lot for water and he used to shoulder those big cans and bring water to his home. So he started Walk for Water and also the enterprise Smart India Private Limited with a vision to give affordable and clean drinking water to as many as possible. And apart from that, in any instance of natural calamity, be it Uttarakhand floods or Kerala floods, the first call from Government of India goes to him and his equipment is airlifted, the water is purified and it is served to the people there in need. So he's a multi-facilitated personality and the spirit of problem solving that he has, that's amazing. And thank you so much, sir, for being a part of the panel. I now invite Karunakar Reddy garu to address the audience.
Mind pollution is the biggest thing which is really causing all the other pollutions. Okay. So coming to today's topic discussion about CSO's role in mitigating or reducing the climate impact. So I born in Mahbubnagar district, United Mahbubnagar district. Now it is also divided my district into 4 different districts. Now it is comes under Vanaparthi. Born in mid 70s and luckily born the bank of the Krishna perennial river. where the perennial river meaning was not really correct at that particular time, because only during the monsoon time the river used to flow, and during the summers it is very small branch, small canal kind of thing we used to happen. And just 3 kilometers away from my home, that perennial river, but we used to have acute insufficient, we used to struggle a lot to fetch water for human consumption as well as our cattle consumption, because earlier in our rural villages, we all know that, okay, it is a Vasudhaika Kutumbakam. Not only humans, along with humans, a lot of cattle and other things all together they live in a single home. So we need to take care of all of them. So humans as well as. So I born in a farmer family. So most of the time, so whenever I get free from some kind of home activities, then only I need to perform my schooling and all. That used to be. So most of the time I used to spend a lot of time, as because said right now that my time used to consume a lot to fetch water from almost 75 to 80 steps deep well. And we used to use the pot, the behind my screen you can see that is a metal pot that I used to collect from the clay pots. Okay, Urlalo, in the villages you can see that, okay, it was made by the experts, that kind of different kind of mud used for them to even all the purpose, like utensils, kitchen equipments, okay, storage of water for drinking, even fetching water purpose, all the purpose we used to connect a lot with the nature. Nothing was waste. And when I was young, I used to see that, okay, we used to buy only salt, because salt, we are not very near to seashore and all this thing, only salt. Rest everything goes out from the village. Nothing comes in, including milk and all these things. Now it is completely reverse. So you can see in my village, nothing is available in homegrown or local grown, and everything we buy from outside, including milk. So as I completed my schooling in my own village, then I did my college in a nearby city called Vanaparthi, which is district headquarters right now. Then I did my graduation. And after my graduation, then I got an opportunity to work for a soft drink company. In that soft drink company, I learned that, okay, what kind of the same thing which is happening, how multinationals are looking Indian market. So because it is all the resources are becoming commodities, and multinationals are making every resource as a commodity. As we know that water is a natural resource. Now we are using as a commodity, because nothing is free. Even nature gives free, but we as humans are polluted a lot, and we don't get a clean drinking water or anything. That's why we need to buy. It's become a commodity, and day by day, it is decreasing availability and all, and then it is increasing the pollution, and it is growing a lot. The water industry is growing. Today is almost 3 trillion globally, and it is every year it is growing a lot. By seeing this, okay, came from a rural background. Okay, we don't have an infrastructure, like we don't have a pakka houses. There is no proper pipeline infrastructure. Nothing was there. Then how a poor person, because India lives in its villages more than 80%. When I was talking, now it is almost 65 to 70% India lives in the village. But here the basic facilities are not available, but how we can really able to serve my family fellows. So then when I was working in a multinational, then I started thinking about this, and I got an opportunity to launch in a water brand. Today is a famous water brand in the market. I got an opportunity to be part of that activity. Then I understand. Then I thought that giving a thought that, okay, I came from the village, then how can I really address this problem? The problem is, what in my mind is, how I can really reach to the last mile with a quality product, and how I can make an accessible and affordable, because rural area affordability is very difficult. Accessibility is difficult. So this was the back end running in my mind. Then I need to do some kind of solution for this. Passion and compassion both come together. Then I was always used to think about this. Then I need to address this problem. That time I was nothing to know about what is happening, climate change, global warming, and all these things. Okay, it was just my passion and compassion, how I can really serve my village, because like that, my village, there are million plus villages in India, almost 6 lakhs revenue villages in India, and hamlets and all this thing, it's more than 1 million, and 80% of the villages is the same, plus or minus here and there. If you see that Rajasthan and all this thing, they may walk approximately 5 to 6 kilometers an average. And most of this work used to get this by girls, females, because females are in India, as we know that, okay, they are less given a priority and they are homemakers and all this thing. So even I seen that, okay, in my village, very less girls used to come to the school and boys come to more, and less population of girls, because girls used to take care of their home needs like cloth washing and other things. So this is given my idea. I was having a lucrative job, getting a satisfied salary and all these things, but I was not really happy when I go back to home at Diwali or Dashera or something like that. Lives are not changed, even though if in Hyderabad I got an opportunity to open a tap at my home kitchen. But if you go to the whole village, and then same, you need to take this clay pot and go to 70-80 steps down the well, and you need to get water. So that was always thinking a point for me. And then one fine day I realized, and I decided to leave that whatever lucrative activity I was doing, and selling colored water. Then why don't I make affordable clean drinking water to my villages like that? Then this idea given me that to launch SMART, Sai Malhar. Sa means Sa. Sa is Sarigama. Sa means good. Malhar means the music in Karnataka. Ragam, it is a Malhar is called as a peace. Okay, good peace in a water and air technology, because water and air is the futuristic big challenges which we are going to encounter, and we are encountering almost. So this was my 2 decades back idea. Then I started Smart India alone as a technology company. Initially, I started domestic, institutional, industrial, then I commercial also. Then I started go for a community based, go to the villages, because that was my end point. Till that, to reach that area, so you need to have basic sustainability. That's why I work for a commercial and industrial segment. Then I immediately moved into the community based. Here in a community based, I was told that water is not just water. Water is health. Water is education. Water is empowerment. Water is happiness. Because if you have a clean drinking water, as we know, 80% diseases from water only. So if an adult of the family is sick, then entire family used to forcefully go to fast, because there is no food enough. Because if the family head is not going to work, even school dropouts, so many things are happening. It is not just water. Water is going to address every problem. That's why I key in more on interest. I was not even really stayed long on that particular area. I had to start this thing. And then initially I started, got an opportunity by God blessings and grace, and I got an opportunity to work big companies. That time nobody was interested to listen my business model and all. Government, you forget about government, even instead of reaching to the government, because government is not really interested to provide mineral quality drinking water, because it is a luxury product in their idea. That's why I approached good people like Dr. Reddy, Sanji Reddy, and other big people, corporates, even by Raju Foundation. That time they accepted my idea. They supported initially. Over a period of time that we started 1-2 villages. It takes 3 to 6 months to install 1 village, 2 village and all this thing, because we need to educate people. Something like that. Then I started going this numbers into big. And over a period of time, then I got an opportunity to took blessings of the first people president of our nation, the proud Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. He was really impressed about my idea, and he was really seeking this kind of affordable technologies, because last mile delivery is most important this thing, and water is the one which is going to be really make a vital role. Then when I given my presentation, I got an opportunity. Then he has really applauded my idea, and then he said, okay, I am also part of, let's work together, because his dream project was Pura, providing urban facilities in rural area, because education, quality health and quality life is most important, okay, in a Pura. So it is synced that, and Dr. Kalam sir used to tell a lot of people whenever he is introduced many of the great people, my idea and all this thing, a lot of people visited me and they seen and they appreciated, they given so many ideas and all these things. That's why Dr. Kalamji has transformed my idea into a bigger one. Today, almost 15,000 plus communities are getting a clean drinking water, more than 1.5 crore families at very affordable. It is even lesser than a tea. Today, anywhere you can buy a tea at a cost of minimum 10 rupees. And but my 20 liters of water for a family, still today in Maharashtra, we are able to provide 2 rupees and some places 5 rupees, 6 rupees. Maximum price is 6 rupees for 20 liters, mean 30 paisa per liter, which is completely very affordable. And one fine day, I taken this idea and success story to Dr. Kalam. So he said that who is the poorest of the poor person can afford this technology. I said, sir, the poorest of the poor person in the society is the beggar, because he always beg money at something, he lives on that. But beggar is also affordable, sir, because he is also paying money, and he is also doesn't have a change. Sometimes he used to give 1 rupee for 2 liters. So something like that. So that is the real game changer. The Kalams are appreciated. Then I started, when I working in a villages and all this thing, I seen that lot of abuse used to happen, because wherever there is this disruptive technologies like power bore wells, okay, earlier used to have a hand pumps, okay, hand pumps, we need to manually hand pump, but then only water will come. Once the electricity and electrifying is happening more and more, and power pumps and submersible pumps started coming, but nobody is taking accountability. And finally, what happened when our purpose of providing a safe drinking water and sustainability, then it is most of the time during the summer, all the water used to pumped out from the groundwater. There is no fresh water going inside, because we are using our lifestyle changes happen. A lot of revolutions came, pesticides started using, fertilizers started using, so many things are happening. So over a period of time in a rural area, getting a raw water itself, it is very difficult. Then what we started, how we can really tackle this problem. So one problem, if you are addressing one problem, another problem is already started. So most of the summer, during the summer, you see in Latur area and all, even in Telangana, in Mahbubnagar, especially my district, Mahbubnagar, even Anantapur, these places never used to get water. Even for cattle, drinking water is very difficult. Then we started, why don't we conserve water? Because that particular time I taken studies and all these things, almost we are not conserving water, and most of the rainwater, because we are in India and we have a sufficient average annual rainfall is 800 mm, but we are still really struggling for water. So what is the point behind in this thing is, I seen that, okay, agriculture is the one which is really contributing a lot of share in this. So water is a global problem, but a solution is only local. We cannot import a technology or something from that, from any other foreign country or something. We have to have a solution from locally. Like that, what we did, we started a global problem coming into local. How can we do a conservation? So then we started wherever our plants are there, and in that particular village, meeting the youth, local youth and all these things, then conveying them in a proper way. understanding them in a proper way. Then we started Walk for Water, because the name came as a Walk for Water is save water, restore ecological balance. If you don't save water or conserve water or recycle water, the ecological system, entire ecosystem is going to be disturbed. That's why we started this with a campaign caption called Save Water, Restore Ecological Balance. Then what we did in this, first what we did, we need to commit people, because people is the one. People, without people participation as an organization or anything, nothing can be do. So we did successful this 15,000 villages only because of people participation, and not as a commercial organization or nothing. So we need to involve people, especially youth of this country, because youth of this country, we believe that's game changers, because India highest youth population, and youth, if youth want to change anything, they can really change this thing. By believing this, we started initially, we did a water pledge going to the schools, because schools are the one which is really students, then really they understand their, if we inculcate in a right idea in their minds, okay, like my earlier speaker, Captain Karunakar Reddy Garu says that, okay, some of the organization really game changers, like RSS. RSS is the one which is I nurtured initially in my childhood. Then like that, okay, going to the schools, make them nurture the students and all, and giving them the importance of water, give some kind of project work and essay writings and even whatever. So like that, what we used to do, we used to get connected with the students. Once you get a student connection, then you can connect with their families and fathers and other people. Like that, 1-2 villages is we started, and we started rainwater harvesting during the monsoon. All the water used to go, and during the summer and all this thing, 2-3 years they seen that a lot of impact. So like that, what we did, we given a lot of water pledge kind of campaign, and that is really gone globally. So almost through Earth Day network and all this thing, more than 100 countries participated. We took part as a UN World Water Day, okay, every year with a new theme and all. So we are very happy to announce, say that more than 30,000 rainwater harvesting structures are constructed. What we did in the beauty of this thing is, wherever there is a dried up borewells, earlier there was a borewells which used to give water, and it is dried up because of not properly maintained or not given a recharging and all this thing. We taken majority of them and we converted them into a useful, because earlier it used to be almost the killing stations, like the small kids used to go and play, and they used to get down in the borewell pumps and all this thing, and this kind of this thing, manholes or something like this. So during this particular time, what we did, our objective and business model itself, it is a triple P model, triple bottom line, 3P model. It is first we took people, and then we care and concern about the planet, because when we look about the people, we need to look about the planet. Then most importantly, sustainability means profit. Whatever I'm going to do, I do all measurements in the bottom, but on the top line, whether I'm making money or not. If I'm not making money, because tomorrow I'm not going to be there, I'm going to disappear. So sustainability is most important. That's why in my business model, whatever I do, I always look into a sustainability. Not making a lot of profits and all this thing. At least, can I really make this project sustainable or something like that? Or whoever stakeholders are taking time and all this thing, whether I'm able to give them a compensation, fair compensation or not, something like this. So after SMART as a social enterprise, then with passion, we started Walk for Water as campaign. It is as a CSR arm of the Smart India. So no private funding, no any other involvement and all this thing. Even whenever we do rainwater harvesting structure, we made an affordable cost. Because if it is going to a private area, it may be almost 30,000-40,000. We made around 5,000-6,000, even 50,000, 60,000, even corporates are also. But what we used to do, we used to take our expenses, not in a profit in that, because it is in a CSR arm of Smart India. Then what we did, we understand that, okay, when we are going to address this water problem, and what we need more monsoons to be come and all these things. Luckily, what happened one particular time in the year 2014, I was one of the event I participated with Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. And Dr. Kalam sir says that, okay, youth of India is the game changers. So then what we did, we need to educate people, and education should engage them, because our academics and all these things, whatever our formal education is not really engageable. So how to engage means we need a different definition for education, not just an academic and all this, something lifestyle education or something like that we need to bring. So that's why we started Igniting Minds. That particular time, I was one of the participant in the plantation program. That particular time, India have more than 100 crore people. If 100 crore people come forward to plant each one, at least plant one, we can, without participation, without involvement of anybody, we can really add 100 crore saplings on this Indian subcontinent or something like that. So that was just an idea. Then after over a period of time, because we are already engaged, then that a lot of other things, and we are not really participated, and we are not really taken into consideration of that, because we seen that, okay, Millennium Development Goals from 2000 to 2015, we seen that, okay, Millennium Development Goals are not able to really achieved in a proper way. Then we came into Sustainable Development Goals. Then we seen that Sustainable Development Goals, along with GRI guidelines, Global Initiative, reporting initiative, that how corporates are really looking into how they are spending money or all these things. By that time, even Government of India brought 2013 or 14 this CSR policy of 2% profit. All this came into picture and all this thing. Still, whatever governments and other things are bringing a policies and all, we know that without people participation, we cannot bring any change. That's why what we used to do always, people participation is most important. So passionate people need to be come into that. Like that, Walk for Water campaign what we did we did a Million March kind of activity in 22nd of March. In Hyderabad, from you can say that Hayat Nagar to Patancherut and Shamshabad to ECIL. So human chain, okay, for a solidarity and all that. Like so many things we did, and we really brought a lot of positive impact. Approximately 1,300 million liters as of now people pledged and saved water. Then I said now that when we after meeting Dr. Kalam, then in the year 2015 we finally lost him, and his last speech, okay, the Livable Planet Earth, is the last IIM Shillong in 27th July 2015. So his last speech we taken as a mission, and then we understand that how to connect people, because his idea is to, if 100 crore people can come and part of this plantation program, simply we can add 100 crore plants. Why we are not able to do? Then we given a lot of idea and thought process, like our one of our the expert here, Vikas, and other Kishore, a lot of people who are experts in Walk for Water. We made Walk for Water is really a global movement. We really achieved commendable great things without investing any money. One thing is, great thing is, we never ever collected money from anywhere. That's what. So then over a period of time, then we thought, why don't we give a thought process, like where you need to connect a logic. By the time what I did, I seen floods in Kashmir. Okay, I was there in during Kashmir with Indian Air Force C-30 aircrafts. 3 times they came, especially from Delhi to Hyderabad, Begumpet Airport, and to just airlift my water treatment plants. We were there along with my team. And after that, West Bengal, after that, Kerala floods recently in the year 2018, everywhere. So we know, okay, everybody knows, okay, global warming reality, but people are not able to understand. That's why what we did in the year 2018, after third Punyatithi and a death anniversary after Dr. Kalamji, we want to come up with an idea, innovative and a fun kind of game. It is Green India Challenge. That Green India Challenge is nothing but we connected a logic. Each one plant 3 and nominate 3. So each one plant 3. Why we need to? People ask why we need to plant 3 minimum. If you are why you want to plant minimum 3? Because every human being consumes 280 kgs average oxygen per annum. So each plant, a 3-year plant or some sapling, it will become a plant, will give sufficient approximately 100 kgs of oxygen. So to substitute your own this thing, okay. So if you want to buy during the corona, everybody knows the value of the air. Okay, lakhs of rupees hospital bills, then they understand, okay, air is also this much expensive. Then in the year 2008 only, we said that if you want to buy this air in the hospital or something like that, you need to pay approximately 8 lakhs rupees. So nature is giving it a free of cost. Why don't you at least plant 3 from your side? Like that proper the fun kind of this thing. What we did initially, we started on 27th of July 2018. And because by the time our state government is the flagship program Haritaharam, most of the government officials also not very happy because people participation is not there. Whenever whatever government schemes announced, then people think that, okay, it is government activity, why should I participate? Then we combined both of them. Then what we did, we tell the people that we need to be part of this activity. Then people come forward, and it is successfully, we did almost 4 years without any single stop. If we, as on today, approximately this one plant become 145 million saplings across the globe. And approximately, we are not even individually measured this thing, approximately 2,465 million liters of carbon it is absorbing. Here, what we seen that ours 80% plus survival rate, because whoever planting 3, they are nurturing them 3 years. So more than 80% survival we taken as a conservative figure. And 13,266 liters of oxygen these plants are producing. And the great fun thing is we never invested up money on the anything. We may invested small pocket and traveling and all these things here and there, but we are not really taken any grant, any fund from anybody. But luckily, because of passionate people, committed, passionate people, I believed Dr. Kalam's a lot of words like if you have handful of people, bunch of people committed for the cause, and if it is really is going to solve the problem, then you need not to worry about this thing. That's what in the year 2002 itself, I got this message from Dr. Kalam, and I believed him 100%. And that's why I made a lot of impact in terms of environment, in terms of agriculture, in terms of clean drinking water, anything. As in today, I'm really feel proud and happy being not just creating so much impact, and really able to get so many like-minded people around the globe. Today, one of my colleague, okay, he's representing as an observer in COP26. Okay, one of these, our associate editor of Igniting Minds, and Rituraj Bukan, and co-founder of Walk for Water. Like that, we have climate reality leaders. So many. On the other day, Mr. Pradeep Karturi is also one of the guy. When he was crowdfunding and all this thing, we were really with him, and we encouraged him to do an expedition of Antarctica. Then Raghu is also one of the guy. Many of them, see, like-minded people, we are able to connect with our noble cause. Okay, that's what I feel very proud and happy, because I think I am taken a lot of time. Thank you so much for this session. Probably we may take this into next level, because we've seen global warming reality, and a lot of people are able to understand what is happening in and around within us. And probably we all together, we may make impact and make this world as a livable planet for the next generations. Thank you so much.
This is a climate change. The conference is going on today to motivate everyone. But the question is, so far, whatever has happened that since 1972, whatever has happened till today, since 1972, we recall our Prime Minister of India, Indira Gandhi, Riyadh. She promised that 2% of GDP will spend for the purpose of our climate. That means that time is environment is called for environment purpose. Next page, please. But afterwards, we promised that 2%, 2 degrees centigrade will bring it down. But now is 1.3 degrees centigrade increase. The type of the commitment, the promises, making big promises by every country and every prime minister and president. But ultimately, we are today is virus, whatever is corona, COVID-19, like that, first wave, second wave, third wave. All this it speaks and ativristi, anavristi, climate disturbance, and every element, either earth or air, water, all polluted, our food is polluted, adulterated, and what is going on, sometimes we have to be very, today, the younger generation, they are going to curse us because they know that we are promising all, it's not been, they think that we are liars. They think that we are not really what we say, not doing it. This is because the education system in our Vedic science, which we have lost, like, he's a Charaka Samviti. People know that, about the plants, the herbal, medicinal, aromatic plants. He has given 55 diseases, what major disease in the world, that for each disease, 10 plants. That means 550. Out of 550, the 100 are common. That is the one which we are 450 plants, varieties that been cultivated at Pragati, all 450, which is a major, more than 800 varieties we are cultivating. But here, what we lost our main focus, that our constitution signed by Mahatma Gandhi, Ambedkar ji, our all Rajendra Prasad ji, most of them, they are stalwarts, while making the constitution, every page they made a sketch. The first sketch is Nandi. Nandi means that is the Vedas, 4 Vedas. The second sketch is, that is previous one. The second sketch is the Rishi Sanskriti, not the before. The third sketch is that Ramayanam, that is Rama, Lakshmana, Sita going to Ayodhya after winning, Adharma, Sri Lanka removing Adharma and coming. And this is the one where the type of Rishi Sanskriti, where the Yajna Yagas. See, Vedas, Yajnas, Yagas, Ramayanam, Bharatam. 4th page is Krishna teaching to Arjuna. That is, and 17, that is Nataraj, Bhagavan. That is, Nataraj is nothing but 8 forms of Shiva. There's a lot of meaning in it. What they say, whatever you want to constitute, without this, nothing is going to come, result. That means value system. That value system is more important. Next page, please. Continue, please, pages. That is where we are. This is the Krishna, Rama, Lakshmana, Sita going to Ayodhya. Next, speed up, please. Or sketches. This is the Bhagavad Gita teaching. This is Nataraj, 8 forms. This is what I inspired, seeing that, Lord Krishna, around him the trees, around him the cows. That means the cows, it doesn't mean that one animal is only desi cow and all. Even elephants or horses, and the cows, the people call Kamadhenu, Airavatam, then Ashtam. These all is very important to have the soil to protect, environment to protect, biodiversity to protect. To that extent, next session we can talk separately how this, particularly the trees all around, cows all around, how it is going to affect an environment. Next page, please. Next, our main focus, this is the one, what is a Dhanvantri. Dhanvantri, you see one hand, left hand, he has got that Amrita Kalas. That is nothing but is the water. Is just is the water. Whereas the right hand, you see Vanamulika is there. That is the what he says with the mantra, with the bhava. You just put this any herb in the water, that herb that becomes into sacred water. That is called Amrut, immunity. That's why the type of plants what we have, the type of sacred plants, Rimutyavanam, Panchavatyavanam, Panchabhutavanam, Navagravanam, Nakshatravanam, Rasivanam, Saptarishivanam, 21 Patrikavanam, like that, so many, these are the plants where we used to, like the Tripala, Dasimula, all is planted all along where the catchment areas, rain catchment areas. When the rain is flowing, that it cuts the roots along with the soil. When it cuts the roots, that sacred herbs, that medicinal value goes into water, that water becomes a sacred. That is the, anywhere you see that, even you do puja, anywhere the colors, there the people used to keep all the type of herbs. Now today is only mango leaf they keep. Before that, when Brahma Srishti, he was not able to perform the Srishti, then he called Narayan Smarana, then Narayan said, go Yajna. Then Indra brings the kalasha, the red sandalwood in the water of the kalasha. So this is the secret of our water, how the, herbal, medicinal, aromatic plants helps. Today, the Pragati, we planted more than 47 lakhs the herbal and medicinal aromatic trees, and shrubs like tulsi and other things is billions, trillions of plants. Why? Because today, if you see that today you don't find mosquito here, you don't find any virus here. We conducted this during Corona time, more than 112 marriages we conducted, 135 rooms fully booked, and having 5 members instead of 3 members in the room, and 8 to 12 days in a month for marriages. Even 5 marriages we conduct simultaneously. Why there is no virus here? Why there is 700 people working in the to serve these rooms and food and other services? 700 people work in Pragati. Why they are not got a single person having a corona? Even the people, 5,000 people, even 15 days before, 5,000 people for the marriage, and that was fully booked. Why they don't get? It is the only reason is the how you keep the pavitrata, purity of the place. That is, the soil is no pollution, air is no pollution, water is no pollution, and there is no sound pollution. Because what? It is only the plants what we have, that is traditional herbal medicinal plants. And also the cows. Why the cows are required? We can't use chemical pesticides, chemical fertilizers and other like that, whatever is the space and all. What we use, the panchakavyam and all, we take from the cow urine and cow dung, and we make a lot of things from there. That is works as a humus, not as a fertilizer. People think that is just a small, one cow can give 35 acres to cultivate. And also the cultivation system, what we make, why today the farmers are getting suicide? Because the expenses are more and returns are less, because they are spending on 3 things which is costing them. One is plowing, another is weeding, third is fertilizer and water. What we do, we don't do cultivation because we just cover with all the leaf mold, everything is like a mulching, and because of this mulching, no weed will come, and we use spray all this panchakavyam, that from the cow, whatever it comes, it converts into fertilizer, because when the mulching is there, water is less, and your fertigation is just whatever the waste, like a straw, paddy straw or whatever. We don't grow paddy, we grow all millets, because what millets and versus the paddy or wheat, or Maruti ji has explained, This is directly, indirectly. The rice and wheat requires 8,000 to 12,000 liters of water per 1 kg of rice. That which is coming next particular, there is a sketch is there. Please continue, please. This is the 8 forms of the Shiva: Prithvi, Jal, Vayu, Agni, Akash, Surya, Chandra, Adhikari Lingam, Adhikara Kathmandu. All these 8. Prithvi is the one which we have to see that Prithvi as a mother. But that the plant is mango, is the element of carbon. You see the Rishi Sanskriti, what the mango tree is for Prithvi. Jalaling, Jambukeshwar, Akalandesh, there's the Jamun tree is a nitrogen. Because of nitrogen, water comes. Tejolingam, Arunachaleshwar, Modhu hydrogen. Like that, Vailingam. That is Shikalastas, Gnanaprasunama, Juvi. All this is the what you have to pray the God. As a God, the earth or fire or water or air or sky. You see in Prakriti, the sky, you can see when the clouds are not there, it's clear sky. The moon, fantastic. All the stars you can see. Whereas in city, you can't see. When these 8, if you are taking care as a God, that is the what taught our Vedas. That's why Vedas or Upanishads or Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, Bharatam, they are very important to, that education is taken out from our school education. Next, please. Continue. Next. This is a few amazing facts about Prakriti. That is what we are told. Continue, please. This is man-made biodiversity. This is, we got the platinum. That is, in the world, platinum, only 2 people are got in the particular resorts area. We are one among the 2. And also ISO 9000. Our suspended particles in the air is just 1 to 2. Whereas today in Delhi, 999. That limit is 1000 only they can measure. They being a capital of India, what we are showing, this is the most polluted city in the world. How is it possible? 20 cities in the world, polluted cities, all 20 is from India. Is it not, we are talking so much about environment and climate and this thing, where we are? What's happening? There's water. Water, how we are consuming water? Water, we are making such a big dams and cultivating rice, which rice is available for more than 7 years stock. 50%, 70% is getting wasted, and we have to pay for every farmer that money for his produce. What our money is going, tax money is wasting. And this methane, how much methane is producing, that green gases, the number 1, the dangerous, that is growing rice and wheat and also sugarcane. Sugarcane is so much that is required 27,000 liters of water required 1 kg to produce on your table the sugar. Our ancient, they never used sugar. They used only palm jaggery. What palm is required water? It doesn't need. Almost 0. And also the pectose, whereas this one is a glucose. All diabetes, all the type of problems coming only because of rice and sugarcane. And still we want to grow that only, which is against the principle of our, and Madras today is, of course, there is Ativristi, Anavristi, water, but 2 years back, they are closing all their schools, colleges, and also the universities, particularly these hotels and the offices. Why? Because there is no water. The scarcity, and this side we are, and also what we are consuming, like, the type of refined oil, which is, how can you take refined oil? Is all the totally adulterated. Why the heart attacks are coming? Only because of refined oils. Well, what is there? This crude oil. Palli oil, if you want to take the palli oil, that is a palli, groundnut, it costs 90 rupees minimum per kg. 3 kg required to have 1 kg of oil, that is cold press oil. How can you get at 90 rupees to 10, 100 rupees palli oil? Like that, any oil, kusum oil, till oil, coconut oil, all this is adulterated, is killing, not only adulterating that pollution and also the polluting. Next, please, continue. And what I like to bring it to, these are all the things what we are seeing that totally, please continue, because so many slides are there. Continue, please. Continue the slides. Continue. These are all the education system where we have to, the Bala Gangadhar Tilak. Bala Gangadhar Tilak, he found that India is going into most polluted, and also the our food is getting adulterated. All this knowing that what he knows that rishis, they used to teach first taxonomy. That is what somebody is required for the yajna. That's why they are connected with that nature. Today, that law said, they thought 21 patrikas to be introduced to the school children. That they remove that in whatever is our Constitution of India. Those things, all people think that this is the mata, this is the religion, this is something, this is it is for the whole world to bring back our original system, healthy, wealthy life, not only for our own mankind, for 84 lakhs living beings to take care of, like Vasudhaiva Kutumbam. Next, please. This is the climate. You see the temperatures in what millions of years, nothing happened. Last 100 years, we have totally, after independence, much more, we have gone into the climate change. Not only India, the whole world. See the United Nations EP, what they said, wherever there is agriculture is going on the planet, 89.8% arsenic, lead, mercury, what we are eating, nothing but poison. That is declared in 2012. We have to use average India, the pesticides usage is 52.5 kg per acre. Telangana, 75.5 kg we are using. Tamil Nadu, 125 kg of pesticides we are using for the growing, for the agriculture. What's happening? Like we have to think twice, thrice, and also the 84 lakhs of living beings means endangered. They become, most of them, Pichukulantam, some birds endangered. Your Ramandulantam, they're all endangered. Humankind also is going to get endangered if you don't take a serious action. Not just telling, and we must go in seriously implementing the plantation. What Lord Krishna showed, that all around him, the cows and plants. That's why they are called Kalparukshas, Kamadhenus. The names they are given, such a wonderful. Why? They give everything. But we don't understand. We keep them away and we want only money. Money can give. Sukh, Santosh, Anand. Money can buy anything. That belief in the politicians, in the industrialists, in almost all 99.99%, this belief has brought money is only one, and adhikar means the position. These two, everyone is like a rat race going on without looking at his, even 20 doctors are not able to save a person having in his, all around his bed, and no medicines are able to save him. All these pharma companies, what the pollution is bringing, that instead of our herbal medicine, we know that in Pragati, more than 20,000 positive cases brought to negative. That's why the awards, you see that the awards we got from World Book of Records. One for plantation, herbal medicinal endangered plant, and second is service during the COVID-19, how we made the through herbal medicinal plant, how many people we have saved. No side effects. No side effects anyone. All this we want all the injections, that is what we call that we are spending huge amount which are against our Indian system of medicine, like Charaka Samhita, Sushruta Samhita, or all Vedas, all Upanishads, everything they're talking about herbs and the yajnas. Each yajna is going to take care of the whole atmosphere of 5 elements: clean water, air. Agni, of course, that is the one which is always pure. You cannot impure. But through Agni, we offer the samadhis and also the cow ghee. This, it goes to the devatas, means nothing but this Varuna Devata. It brings water, earth. It gives germination. Trillions of microbes are killed in this earth, which is causing us tomorrow. You can't digest. If it can't digest, you put the seed, if it doesn't germinate, if it all the waste materials we are dumping, if it doesn't digest, what will happen? That is going to happen. This is soil, water, air pollution. Next, please. Next, please. Our eating habits. There are 4 types of eating habits which we are changing from millets to rice, wheat, and also we are changed from coffee, from herbal decoctions to coffee tea. We are changed from our kattigan noon, cold pressed oils to refined oils, and we change from palm jaggery to our sugar cane. All this consumption. If you change your consumption, our climate will change. Consumption. If you eat wheat, you get yourself, wheat and rice will get diseases, and environment is going to damage all the water. Directly consumption, and also from the dams, whatever is coming, wastage and all that what I said. This is your wheat, the millet, you don't need any water, 300 liters per 1 kg. Millets can be shared by 10 people, but 1 kg, whereas rice 3-4 people. And this is whatever glucose, the millet will release 2 in 3 times, only 6 units what is required for the body. Whereas your rice and wheat has got 12 units, it dumps at one time in 1 hour time. That's why we become obesity, all diseases. Next, please. Next. This is natural farming. What I said, we don't need to spend much more money, returns. That's why today the farmers, they are buying, they stopped, they say crop holiday, because they are not able to get back what the money they spent on the agriculture. That's why the crop holiday is coming. What is going to happen now? That's why I request all these so-called concrete jungles are creating so much havoc, and people doesn't want to go to villages. All villages are coming to city because this is where we want plantation, that is like a square foot gardening, vertical gardening, hanging gardening, roof gardening, or pot gardening. You don't say I have no space. We will create the space. It has to be brought, the concrete jungles, into urban forests. Then only. We can't change suddenly. Everyone has to think about these herbs, which is mosquito-free, virus-free. Next, please. This is an Indian kitchen. What type of pop dabba, means the spice box? We lost it, all adulterated today. That's where we are losing our totally pollution. Pollution, why is coming? When you are adulterated chemical things or colors, chemical instead of natural colors. Everything food is getting adulterated. This is what is one. Another is you don't keep any space, whatever the HMDA layouts are, any layouts is coming by government is becoming only concrete jungle. There is no place for plantation. How long we can go like this? Every every place which was the Hyderabad all around, grape gardens, horticulture, such a important, all we removed. We have removed complete and only concrete jungle. This is not only Hyderabad, all the town cities. When you will learn, who is going to? Next, please. Next. This is what, the food he was telling, just before Jaise an, aise man. Next. Jaise an, aise man. An means what you eat. That is whether you eat millets or rice wheat. Jaise ras, aise kon. Ras means that is whether you like Pepsi Coke or like to have coconut water, fruit juice, vegetable juice, nanari. This is the one. Because Pepsi Coke, you see, you're damaging your health and also you are encouraging the chemical industries to come. All chemicals will go and soil pollution, water pollution, air pollution, all it starts that. Your consumption, your way of eating habits. The third is just Agni, I say. Wow. Agni means oil, hydrogen. Where it is hydrogen? In oils, that is refined oils or Katikanun. With this, just by consumption, you see that changes everything. Then your farmer will grow those things and farmer, not only he becomes a biggest asset, he will become Rarazu. Means he will not depend on the government subsidies and will be saving the taxes. Once he is very fit for the Amrut to give, then the environment is naturally protected. See, the taking care of the farmer is very, very important. We can't allow the farmer to, instead of Amrut, giving wish means that is halahal. Next, please. Next. Continue, please. This is the one which is important in our kitchen. What type of things, all wooden things. You are cutting the vegetables, fruits, anything, base is the Chandra. Why Chandra they use? Why the Chandra, this? The Grahas is now, that is Mangala Kujagraha, Chandra, that is called Kadira, that is called Acacia Katachu. Katta Kachu is used in the pan. Pan means that is the tambulam, is purifies your blood. And also the buttermilking your kavam, that is black, that is a stirring unit, that is the Chandra, which is, contact with the buttermilk, that food, it is Amrut, it becomes. Third, where the Balram is keeping in his own right hand, that left hand, that is Nagali, that is the Pau, and the Musli, that is the Rokali, which is, removing husk or making powders, and Pachad Banda, just to crush your vegetables and other to make the chutneys. And very important thing where the Mr. Walk for water, that is water used to collect in every village, that was the tanks, they used to keep two wooden pieces in center of the water tank. That is one is Amla and this is Acacia Katachu. These two purifies the water. That water is the one which is Rishi Sanskriti we have became that time. As long as we are using that, we are the inventors. We are the creators. India has got so much the type of utensils what they use. They used to use kanchu, that is 5 generations they used to use the same. But today all plastics, all poisonous. So I don't know my time, whether you allow me time, I will continue. How much time you give, it depends upon what Mr. Vikasji.
Yes, sir.
You want me to proceed for
Yeah, another 2 or 3 minutes.
Then roll the whatever sketches are given here. These are all the things, whatever, this is the farm, this is what we do. All this what we grow, the millets, these are all cows. We have Pungunur, Ongol, Giri, Saiwal, Palkar, all these type of cows, and also the millets we grow, palm jaggery we make, and also the all cold press oils we make, then all instead of coffee, tea, kashayams we make. Continue, please, continue. So there is only one way to change the climate. This is the where the countries number of plants per head. Canada has got 8,953 plants per head. Russia is 4,500. America 716. United States and China 102. India is only 28 plants, whereas the average global is 422 plants. Why? Well, that is 2012, whereas the Pragati has got 5,000 plants per head. This is what we need. Or we conduct every 6 months, 65 tests we carry, sustainable particles in the air, soluble particles in the air. Today the whole world is, under this pollution. That is where Pragati is always live and let live. All the living beings are equally important to survive. Sustainability. Any missing, any snake or any bird missing is biodiversity is going to affect. Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure. Give me a time. So once again, I request you all to plant. This is all what awards we got. World Book of Records, the 2 awards. This is thank you very much. This is the Biodiversity 2011, what they made. He is the one, this is a Pereira even today. He is the chairman of the Biodiversity, all the organic certification. Live and let live. This is the lotus, is the symbol of our purity. Without purity, you cannot go. Your mind is, it will be devil. Thank you.
Thank you so much, GVK Rao garu. It's a very, very inspiring speech with a lot of achievements. I can see that, this is something that this knowledge and experience of yours has to, it should reach the, the younger generations. There has to be a proper interfacing. We will take your views at the end of this sessions. And some of there's a touch to our Indian culture, the Vedas, from where you have spoken about our Indian heritage and culture, which is the heart of your speech. We appreciate that. And sir, we will definitely look forward to having more interactions.
Brigadier Ganesham Garu from Palestrijna. Sir has been a very interesting and inspiring journey from being a brigadier in Indian Army, then heading the Bharat Dynamics Limited, and from starting a grassroots innovations organization called Palestrijna. Sir believes in the wisdom of our Indian villages and the conviction with which Sir says that local problems should be addressed locally, and that's the way of sustainability. It's an amazing journey with Palestrijna, and the way knowledge transfer happens in small groups and behavioral change that Sir focuses on. It's very, very important, and I have been a person who benefited from that journey, Shodhyatra. I now invite Brigadier Ganesham Garu to address the audience.
Palestrijna, as the name implies, is what we believe in the creativity of people in the villages. We believe that they have learned that they have nurtured that creativity by harmony and living in long years with the nature. In fact, we have a very firm belief in Palestrijna that villages are made by God while cities are made by humans. Generally, it's right. It can be debatable, but generally right, because nature bestows so much on the villages. And villagers try to utilize it for their survival. And in the modern world, they are making us live in the cities. But the society has not realized the significance and the importance and the necessity of sustaining villages. In the bargain, they try to make villages part of a human society or human development. And thereby, I think we are slowly losing the nature. So this is our experience while we travel in the villages, we walk in the villages. the last 16 years. It's an organization, a voluntary organization. We want to identify those wonderful solutions people find in the villages because nobody is coming to solve their problems. The emphasis of people's problems by public innovations or private innovations is based on some criteria, but not on the problems of masses. This is my experience. I lived 70 winters in this country, 72 winters in fact. So when they get little helpless and restless, they get angry. And some of them, when they get angry, they become innovators. And this is where we find them. It's not easy to find them, but when we found them, it's a very exciting journey thereafter. In the villages, there is, in my next 10-15 minutes talk, I would like to focus on how villages can be made more environmentally friendly than going away from the environmental friendliness. That's what is happening slowly in the name of development. The external intervention, the consumerism, and the kind of a feeling that village should have urban facilities. All these things, when they are not very well interpreted, are causing villages to become totally dependent. Most of them have become, like one of our speakers said, that everything in their village comes from outside. I remember in 1974 even, I was born in 49, but 1974, my village used to get only 3 things from outside. One of them salt, our friend said, Karnaka Reddy Garu. Second one is matchbox, and third was kerosene oil. That's all. Whereas now consider the imports of a village. There's so many, almost everything. And exports is mostly raw material. If you take a village as an entity, with a kind of a tremendous amount of nature available to it, what they're doing today is highly inefficient, highly uneconomical. But this is the model we have given it to the villages. You know, one thought I always have is nature regenerates. And regeneration comes free for us. Regeneration includes animal giving children, plants giving fruits and flowers and wood, and whatnot, everything. The rain god gives water, sun gives sun, so many things. All these are without effort of human being, not much of effort of human being. So much free inputs available in the village, yet village is seen as the most underdeveloped entity. Very strange, I guess, a lot of paradox in our consideration, I suppose. When we walked into the villages, when we looked at it, looked at the strengths, we found many of them. And their strengths, if we consider and strengthen their strengths, then the villages will, I'm very sure that regain their old Swayam Samdhi, Pushkalam. These are the things we used to talk about the village earlier. And that is something we have to get back. And that's possible only when we strengthen the strengths and tell them, suggest them what they know and let extension of that, not something they don't know. If you give them a black box saying there's a high technology and give so and so, they'll be depending on you for everything. So you have designed, by design you made them dependent on you. It's not fair at all. So similarly, the kind of a mechanization we give it to the villagers is doesn't improve the individual productivity. You know, village people are hardworking people, they want to work, but can we make the individual productivity better and better by devices, not machines, the devices. Maybe some collective devices or small machines which are suitable, appropriate, and of course affordable, as Karnaka Reddy Garu brought out. So this is the kind of a thinking we must have to retain the villages. And all these activities, when you do it, will certainly ensure that our villages do not contribute to carbon emissions. At least they sustain what they are today and maybe slowly have a turning point towards a better environment. Now, there is one more thing which I would like to, I'm just sharing thoughts, not in a very sequential fashion, whatever comes to my mind. There's something called unutilized food, uncultivated food. We were walking in Jharkhand in Sodayatra in one of tribal areas, one lady brought 28 varieties of edible leaves as a wild growth the plants. She said, sir, there are more than 60 here, but I could only muster 28 of them, and we live on them. So there is a great possibility of shifting our food from emphasis on food, from cultivated food to uncultivated food. And that would give us a tremendous advantage in health, like GBK already brought out. And secondly, carbon emissions will be least. One of the major problems today in village is transportation of in and out. People, goods, grains, whatnot. And that transportation, not only one village, all 6.5 lakh villages, things come from far away. And this is causing a lot of pollution and extra strain on the environment. This can be avoided by having clusters of Swayam Samruddhi villages, maybe 30, 40 villages, make them clusters and let them produce what they want within the cluster. Let them supply what others want within the cluster. The supply chain should not be not more than a day. You pluck in the morning, by evening distribute and come back. And what is surplus to you should only go out. Then the transportation becomes very, very minimal. And then that much environment will be certainly benefited. So these are all possible. We went and stayed in a villages we called Ganshods, where we studied villages, their aspiration, their export and imports, today's skills, the surplus in the village, unutilized resources in the village. All these things, when we studied, we found that there is a beautiful case for making the village better and better with their own strength. But what you need to do is that remove all those carrots we hang on the name of welfare for the sake of politics or whatever the elections they do. That's really spoil the minds of the people. We have to change them. And changing the minds, one of our speakers said about that's more important than anything else. So village is, villages are seen as a focus for environment friendly and make them an example of all others. The cities will change automatically because the food they have to get from the village will be much better than what they're getting now. And that will bring health and so all kinds of positive. I think a tipping point will take place where positivity comes into the entire system if we focus on 6.5 lakh villages and make them self-sufficient, make them least import, make them least transport, and focus on uncultivated food and try to see that their aspirations are taken care of, but their strengths are to be strengthened. And we found this amazing innovations in the villages. So today, urea is thrown with hand or whatever the chemicals. Now, urea should not be used, but if you have to use it, let's use the least and let's not waste it. So there's one boy, Mahesh in Islamabad, he put a backpack, urea in the backpack, connected that with a pipe which he can hold like a walking stick. And he chooses the place and he also chooses the quantity. And it controls everything, no wastages, but 35% of urea or whatever is is saved. Now that is advantage to the environment. So there are hand tools. Now if you want to make Saidachari near Suryapet, he made a tractor of a mini tractor of 6.5 horsepower. Now with that, he cultivated 5 acres comfortably without even calling any labor. He and his wife, he got a trailer attached to it, about 800 kg. Then he got reverse gear for it. And together, whenever there was a requirement of labor, they made attachment. And that was fitted either to the tractor, mini tractor, or to the trailer. And that way, husband and wife, beautifully, they took the challenge of not calling the labor and did it. Now, he tried the 2 seasons and he could manage to do it. Now, I'm not saying labor is not required. What I'm saying is 6.5 horsepower tractor can comfortably help a 5 acre or 10 acre farmer. Why do you need 35 horsepower tractor? Why do you need 65 horsepower John Deere tractor? Now, this appropriateness has to be examined at every level. Then when you overdo things, don't overdo things, naturally the environment is taken care of. Now, there must be a law that no one below 10 acres should use this sort of a tractor. And that's what we have to give them. The mechanization has to be appropriate and affordable, and so that our green gas house generation is least. Similarly, you have today there's a lot of wastage in drying the paddy, and they dry in the roads. All kinds of problems come up for them. Now, this wastage can be controlled by some method, and some sort of system has developed for this. There's a boy, Kishan Rao in Jagtial. He developed a small prototype to ensure that without much of shifting up and down and moving left and right, says from the field, he takes it to one machine and the machine gives them paddy ready for market. And that kind of a thing with the least energy, so we must promote or make better than that. But a lot of transportation which takes place now can be reduced in the village. Now, considering all this, my understanding is that villages people do something like they follow the formula like more from less and for many. The formula Gandhiji said, Mashelkar said, of course, nature says. So it's like putting a small seed and getting a big tree, which has lakhs of leaves and then hundreds of flowers and fruits. And these are all consumed by many. So it is a more from less for many. And there's a power of nature. Now, what does power of nature implies? Less input, more output. That is the power of this nature. Less input, more output. But on the contrary, our technology needs higher input and lower output. So my dear friends, you all know, but I would like to repeat the technology directive, and process closer to nature is additive. We have to take a trade-off between the directive process and the additive processes. Then only you will be able to sustain the environment. Only going for technology and consumerism, you all know that it reduces our environment so less that our generations are left with nothing. Now, this is what we learned from the villages. And the individual productivity which you are talking about, if that is improved upon by devices, small machines, small hand tools, which can be locally manufactured or nearby and locally maintained, locally customized. There is no post-sale arrangements, and that would certainly give them a higher productivity, low input costs, and then since there are devices and not machines, the environment will not get affected. The self-sufficiency mantra or Grama Swayam Samruddhi is a very good concept. I think we must bring it back, which we had earlier. It can come back, and when it comes back, your inputs coming from outside, spoiling the local nativity, native seeds which we are losing slowly should get back. We must have a record of agro-diversity, not only biodiversity. What all we grew in the last 50 years in the village and why we have stopped them. Do we have any seeds for last so many, whatever we had in the last decades? All this recording has to be done in the village and bring back the nativity. Old people still know it's not too late, but when they die, the knowledge fades away and the libraries are burnt when the old people die. So this is a very important point, is to get the agro-diversity, get the nativities. So imports reduce and all environmental effect goes away. And then Swayam Samruddhi is possible that time. Then we have to optimize on food. Now, the first speaker told about waste of food, optimization of food. That's very important. In our tradition, we have, I know in my house and many of the houses, combined houses, there's hardly any food left except for giving to some servants and few dogs around. They used to excellently, they used to plan even the biggest of the family, about 25, 30 people. There was no hassle. And somehow we lost the skill. We depend on somebody else to make food. We don't learn ourselves. And that food optimization is very good before cooked. Once cooked, it's a waste. And that should be avoided. And this should be perhaps made a skill, a new trade, new profession to ensure that food food is not wasted out. Then Palace Susan has been working with collectors and NGOs, politicians to suggest all these things, and even RSS we worked at certain level. And there are positive signs are there, positive encouragement has been there, but I think COVID came in the way. But now since Glasgow event is going on, I think there is a possibility for us to look at our villages seriously so that they don't become the victim of the modernization and going against the nature. And with that, I thank you very much for all the expert speakers, listeners, and organization for giving me the opportunity. Thank you.
We discussed about to be inspired and be the change. I think that is something that each speaker over here, they're already a change maker and you're a source of tremendous inspiration. Thank you, all the speakers. So I'm sure the listeners who are there would have got the right kind of inspiration. So we will also request you for the videos, small videos of your earlier experiences, earlier programs, wherever you have conducted, so that will become a record to the people who have not actually got online on this. So we'll make the point I'm trying to make is we'll compile a source of meaningful videos, inspiring videos, small videos, which can be played in the educational institutions, or for that matter, the farmer communities and any other stakeholder. So this is the first point I wanted to suggest. So the second one, we have heard the perspective of various CSOs on how to tackle climate change. We also discussed that we'll have to make a framework for CSOs to work together. So here there is some amount of overlap, but largely each of the speaker is working in a different area. So we can broadly categorize the areas of expertise and areas of working and start developing a database. So like the best example is the Dutch example, where there are many international NGOs that have come together and they're working in a way that there is no overlap. So if one of the NGO may be working on the biodiversity aspect, the conservation aspect, some of the NGOs are working on the legal aspects. So that kind of a database is something that we have to build. So I throw open this section, the integration and working together of the CSOs. So I'd like to request your comments on this aspect, how we can integrate together.
What we need to create an alliance kind of this thing, okay, in a particular segment, and each one complement others. For example, the best this thing is the senior Brigadier Ganeshan Garu Pallis Rujana, because he is helping a lot of grassroots level innovations and making them into scalable, and that scaling also recognizing scaling, something like that, where the small the entrepreneur can really scale his business by giving a business promotion, business case studies or something like that. What I understand, I've seen some of them, and really they made a lot of impact on the society. Probably it may be some kind of alliances, like Dr. G.B. Karev Garu is a live encyclopedia where he can really confirm or transform like agriculture area, especially agriculture area. What we want to say that, okay, it is a plant-based nutrition. See, right now what we have in agriculture, biggest problem, lot of water consumption. He's given 4 ideas, we need to change into our food chain, okay, something like that. So he is an expert into that. So as you rightly said, instead of overlapping, how can we complement each other? How can we really make them to grow in that particular area? For example, all other people, whoever identify a grassroots level innovator or something like that, we need to connect to Ganesham Garu, Brigadier Ganesham Garu, where he can give his and also he give streamline or completely what you can, he have an idea that, okay, he is expert into that. He will help the grassroots innovators. Like Vikas. Vikas is also working with Aksharamanam. Okay, it is education, how really we can really in our education system. Okay, it is a very good laboratory from by Vande Mataram Foundation. Like civil society, all organizations, what we need to do in irrespective of anything. See, I seen a BNI group, Business Network Initiative. There are different people, not same kind of people in the one particular group, and each one is going to refer to other. Here it is not making maybe money, but it is here what our objective should be: make a difference, make an impact, larger impact, how really we can make. Probably it's not depend on a government, because if it is depend on a government, its government have its own ideas and its own purpose and all the same, irrespective of government initiative, and we can really involve some of the bureaucrats or even retired bureaucrats or something like that, who are domain experts, something like that, like Brigadier Ganeshan Garu, what he is doing a lot of very great work, which I seen and something like that. So we need to create some kind of alliance, maybe with small 10, 15 people, then we can start more and more, adding more and more like-minded people, complement them and help them to grow. First, CSOs to grow, CSOs to withstand their own kind of this thing, whatever the time and the investment of time, whatever, we need to complement a value for them. So this is what my initial suggestions, Nishant.
Yeah.
Probably Brigadier Ganesh Garu and GBK Rao Garu have more idea about, because they are the seniors and they have more ideas. They seen a lot of failures, because we need people who are having a lot of failures, because there only we can learn a lot of these things. So they've seen a lot of failure people.
Actually, an idea which is good for society needs collaboration from everyone. It's not only like-minded or somebody, everyone, because then only it really gets entrenched in system and the benefits accrue to the entire system. So we need to rope in not retired IAS officers, the present serving IAS officers, so that, it gets into system. However small way it is, it must get in. Like today, we are talking about the future. The future lies in the hands of school children and college children. So every activity we do, you must rope them in, either at informative level or just a watching level and an involving level. But if we leave them any NGO, any activity for society, that ye bacche hain, inko baad mein dekhte hain, it doesn't help at all. They have to get involved, and that is possible only when academia or the government education department see the benefit of such involvement, and this is an investment for the future, so that the later people don't need to do much of changing minds. Something they have seen good is going, so they're inclined to listen to good in the future, inclined to adopt good into the future, and that should start right from the beginning now. The collaboration, my understanding, to start with school children and college children. Now let me share our Parvisunath personal example. We try to take these innovations of what we see in the villages, very, very humble people making amazing innovation, which have got a very significance in society. When we shared with them, the school children, they are very happy. They are glued to the monitor we show, and that everybody listens, asks questions, even 6th class, 4th class, 5th class children, forget about 10th and 12th. So for them, innovation is excitement. Innovation is a problem solving. Innovation is happiness. That's the way they see it. Now, if you expose them to happiness, now they will start thinking about it. They look around the problems of what we have. Next to my house, what's the problem? What my mother is suffering. Then they look at it. When the children start observing the problems, they will start thinking about the solutions at some level, whenever they have ability or the people around. So I think investing our time on children's influencing their minds, utilizing their minds is very important, which I think most of NGOs and most of us have to do much more than what they're doing today. That's my request. Second thing, the system is not coming forward at all. System has its own rules, regulations, and their constraints, politicians or economy or World Bank. I don't know whatever it is. But what ultimately matters is the society and the people, our happiness. Nothing can come in front of that. PILs help. But why do you have to go to PIL when we are working for the people? When working for the, like Karnataka, working for the water for the people, why should we undergo all any legal problems? Why should we have to break it down? This is a job of government which is undertaken in a more professional way, and why not? So some kind of a conducive atmosphere should be created and sought from the government for doing good job for the better of the people. Now, I'm not revolutionary when I'm talking about that. I've been the system, I understand. I know many departments, many people have allowed people to do wonderful things. That's why so many good NGOs are really have done contributed a lot. So I think we all, NGOs coming together may be difficult proposition because they all have their mandate and suddenly they cannot merge, but they will certainly share their expertise, their best practices they have seen, their experiences, and together they can go. But for the last statement I have is for the sake of society, environmental friendliness or keeping it there, education to the children involving system are the two very important things, and we have to work on that. Thank you.
Ask Mr. Maruti to comment because he has been engaging with a lot of schools. So how we can connect to the schools for, because you're already in the food distribution program.
So I've noticed is like, for example, as you know that we do a lot of programs in the primary and the secondary government schools. Namely, I think I'll just reiterate now that we do milk drives to the primary students, and this way what happens is the nutrition value of the children improves, and as also it improves, it also benefits the school. Same thing in case of breakfast and evening snacks. We have been working with the school, government schools, almost 10 to 15 government schools since 2017 across Hyderabad. And what we do is we concentrate only on one school because we want to see the benefits of whatever activities we do. The activities would be mainly on the snacks, on the breakfast, on the milk, but the improvement level is very high because I find that it is benefiting the children, and also what I've seen is even the parents want the children to they remove them from the private schools and add them to the government schools because of the schemes that we have implemented in the schools. So in terms of food, actually we don't provide any food to the school. It's mainly the breakfast and the milk because I know the food that will be taken care by the government. But we have been working almost 15 schools there. And then everywhere we find that when we started in 2017, the school was in a different barometer, and now after 4 years, after 3 years, because I think 2020 we stopped because of Corona, the benefits are there because I feel that the whole week the children are already doing studies. Now, if we again tell them to study, they might not be interested. So we do it in a very creative way. We have different programs. The same education we teach them in a different creative way, so that the children are interested and they will show some interest in coming to the class. What happened is there is a school, Kapara school, ZPHS secondary primary school. In the primary school, we started teaching them every Sunday on from 2017. So we go with them, like just like Teach India, where we travel with the children. For example, we started from fifth, and the children now are under eighth or ninth class. We found lot of difference between the fifth class student and the ninth class. And also, we are also tying up with NGOs who are sponsoring them. So many of the children, what they do is they learn from us. We teach them, and we get them on par with the private schools because the NGOs are saying that the level will not change. You will have to clear those exams, And knowing that the education is a problem where though they are in the fifth class, the level is less than lower KG. So what we do is we identify 2, 3 students and bring them on board in terms of the education. And 2 or 3, I'm happy to say that there are 2 or 3 students who got selected to the scholarship, and they are all studying in IIT, Triple IT, Hyderabad, and NIT Warangal because of the scholarship that they got. So we can help in terms of the academy and in the food. In that way, we can help. We can try to collaborate because we tie up with students with the government schools across. It's not only in Hyderabad, but across Telangana, in Khammam, Kamareddy, Mehboob Nagar, even Warangal, we have schools with whom we are tied up. So we could try like seed balls creation can be one initiative. So we are trying in different ways to engage the students not only in the food but also in the environment side. That's all we can try. We can help you all in that way in collaboration
Right.
because we know the government schools very well.
Thank you, Maruti Garu.
Yeah.
So now I would like to request GBK Rao Garu to, because sir, you have talked in at length on our Indian heritage and culture and our earlier way of which had the Vedic knowledge imbibed into our education system and values-based education. So how we can connect to an organization like RHA because they are already across so many schools in not only in Hyderabad, all across the India and even overseas. So how we can leverage that strength to be able to make a transformation in the way children are educated. Please, can you comment on that, sir?
Yeah, connecting with the nature. Children must have the connection. They don't know where the milk is coming, what type of rice, wheat, what they are eating, where it is coming, the fruits, vegetables, where it is coming. Everything is totally is a classroom with theory, and they must have the like a pragati, where what type of for school children, the trillions of seeds what we get mother plants, they're all supposed to be shown that there what are the farm friendly, farmer friendly, like butterflies, then the type of how the oil comes from the seed, that is a katigangulu. Then type of instead of coffee tea, the type of herbs like tulsi, lemongrass, the type of allspice varieties, how they can make use into the and if they don't connect with this 5 days camp in a year, 5 days camp is a compulsory, and also the test to be given, the examination test, the where the how the farmer, what he producing, a village, what is that coming from the village. If they don't know, they will not be connected with the nature. They will be simply be saying that whatever the so-called celebrities they are in the TVs promoting, those things only will go. That is what today, unfortunate, all celebrities, their promotion is only is a poisonous or something which is not supposed to eat, not supposed to drink. So this type of change should come in the children, and particularly this for others, wherever you are talking about if you don't consider the Vedas that what you need, the Samadhis, we should have the samadhis growing everywhere. These samadhis not only for the yajna, which is purifying all five elements, and also for our health. What Charaka given that 450 plants, they must be promoted. That is what is Corona is. One is opened the eyes of the whole world that what we supposed to have our Indian tradition, the type of plants like Adharana Vedas, what they are given, and the Rigveda, what they are given, the type of plants, Bhungraj, Madhuka, that is Tipatiga means that is Amrutavalli, there is Brahma Kumari, then Ashwagandha. There's day to day what we use in the spices in the spice box. All these things is to be educated and has to be. If people are seen that the ignas what they do, the type of all these vanamulikas are not available. If they are not available, if you don't give right material to that, then how the effect it comes. The very, very important, this one, we are lost that core that what Hanuman brought, Mutta Sanjivani, Sandhana Karani, Visalya Karani, Suvarna Karani. Now at least we have what some of them like, Somalata, that is Somras, that type of Kalprukshas, the 7 types of Kalprukshas, that is Arichandanam, Mandaram, Kalpakum, Santanam, Parijatum, Maredu, then Kadamba was also Rita Sundari, where she states that is all these 7 types of Kalpa Vanams were there. There the Samundar water is became Amrut Samundar just because the 7 types of Vanamulikas are that medicinal value gone into the water. So these things are to be focused, then only the school children or the whatever the people which they do ignas and all, they don't. I seen the Ritviks and I seen the Somayajis. They always say that we don't get the Vanamulikas. What they are doing, there whatever is available from the Aditya and Tom. Wood in Kostundaru, Akra Mukul Diskoche, Vartanaru. When such things are coming down, how the environment will be protected? So we are always, it's not just water harvesting. We have so much water harvesting, we don't need. See, my place name and Tondolu Koda, Guddulu Betan Pradesham. ఎందుకంటే అదంతా సాయిల్ ఈజ్ లైమ్ శుద్ధం లేదు 6 అంగుళాలు తవ్వితే అది స్లోప్ ఈజ్ విత్ ఇన్ హాఫ్ కిలోమీటర్ లోనే 100 feet డిఫరెన్స్ స్టాప్ సాయిల్ అంతా ఎరోడ్ అవుతూ ఉండేది. సచ్ థింగ్స్ వీ హావ్ బ్రాట్ బ్యాక్ దిస్ వేర్ వాటర్. I asked 4 things before coming to this place. One, it should be away from city, away from highways. It should have depleted water. No one supposed to cultivate that place, such wasteland. When 1994 with this, before starting this, I went to Israel. After seeing the Israel, after 15 days spending there and finding what difficulties they are facing, there is no rains, no rivers, and the soil is totally sand, and they became the richest in the agriculture and also the whatever the technologies, why they become, which is having all around, always wars and wars with the Palestinian and the surrounding all, but still they are number 1 in the world, and we are having abundant water, abundant soil, abundant fertile soil, abundant everything, God given, God gifted place. We are totally, today we are talking about the farmers, where is the farmer? Today, completely the amount of money is funded to them, just free bank balance, and we know that in the villages they are not coming. If someone want to cultivate, nobody is coming. It's being taken into such a level that they enough money don't want to work. It is alarming stage that the policies of the government, which were vote banking, like Venezuela, the country, is going to happen in India also. because they stop their skills, they stop their cultivation. Now the crop holidays are coming. What is mean by crop holiday? Because they are not getting enough returns, because workers, they are not working. Even if they work, only 3 hours, 4 hours a day. Something totally gone wrong. We have to see that how best we have to bring the education system in them. What is the alternative? We must have at least 10 commandments to rectify our present, whether the government to do, or the people to do, or the law, which the law is also not implementing. Pollution control, where the pollution control board is there? What has gone wrong with the judiciary? What is gone? Is everyone, is only money, money, and also the position. These two, it become like a rat race. So I'm sorry to talk about something which I don't talk negative, but this is not for Visleshna, not Vimarsha. That is what I must say to the people, that is unless Visleshna is done, such programs, we will not able to rectify ourselves and become a role model to the others. So certainly this from Pragati is done and shown. There is no question of any health becoming into a problem. Even unhealthy people, when they come, they either asthma or BP, diabetes. You see the number of people that stay here, they don't have any people, they come by wheelchair, and they go back with the complete with the young people. That changes comes only when we have a purity of the climate. That is today's being a climate change, the purity of water, purity of air, purity of soil, purity of all this brings, as I said, Jaise Ann, I say man, Jaise Ras, I say Kun, Jaise Agni, I say Vak, that is Manasa, Vacha, Karmana, Tikana Suddhi has to be done. And our Indian tradition schools, that is all, in the 4 a.m. I was, my childhood 4 a.m. I had to get up. There is no question of any this thing. And today, 4 a.m. means that is called Brahma Muhurtam, that is called Amrita Gadiya, and who is following? If you don't follow the right food, right time, what to eat, what not to eat, then where is the question of Tikana Suddhi? Where the Ekagrata? So school children must be brought into, even parents, they are allowing them to sleep up to 8. If the school is not there, 8, 9 a.m., even parents are not getting up. So I talked to Mr. Vishant. One day, first day I talked to him. I said, I will not associate with anyone unless they get up in the morning, Brahma Muhurtam 4 a.m. Maybe I will start, telling them what is important things. If they don't follow, I don't associate with them. So the food, like millets, kashayalu, katiganulu, tatibellam, if they don't follow this, where is the fun in go on teaching them? 1 time teaching, 2 time teaching, 3 time teaching. After 3 times also, if they don't follow, there's no point in associating with them. Thank you very much.
That one of the speakers were talking about millets. We were thinking about introducing millets as part of alternative for the breakfast or for the milk. But actually, we were planning in 2020,
Yes.
but it got because of Corona and all those things, it got cancelled. So we are trying once the school starts and the strength happens. We want to replace, or you want to just try in few government schools, small government schools, where we can implement millets as an alternative mechanism. Yes, there's a change because the kids, we have to try. So we are going to try in a 20 or 30 school, 30 to 40 children's school, where we can try and implement the millets concept. That will be somewhere in Kapara side.
Wonderful.
That is first thing. And the second,
Not
and the
only
second thing
the
is
millets.
what we also want to know. Yeah, in, other nutrition, it's an alternative of the milk and the breakfast, whatever. And also what we want to implement is people, many of them don't know. For example, the importance. importance of food, because after when I was actually doing the analysis, I found that 5,000 liters of water is being used to produce 1 kg of 1 kilogram of rice. So we waste so much because we collect almost daily. We collect almost around 100 to 300 kgs of rice, which is left excess. So we also want to educate the schools and others the importance of the food, how it is that from the consumption, the production, and everything, because people really don't know. I feel that as part of some academy, we should think about this also as one of the angles, because I always
We
feel
have
that people are not aware.
See, we have the Amrut Ahar. There is a book which is
Yes,
available
sir.
in the www.pragatiresource.com, and PDF file you can download. You will have everything about the millets and also the kashayams and also katiganulu and also the sugarcane sugar instead of that palm jaggery. All is available at Pragati and the city centers also. So this is the one which we have to educate how to prepare from millets to other recipes. All we train them. We have a 5 days courses here. Certainly, this is the momentum we have to bring. The World Health Organization brought that change from rice, wheat to millet. That is already this recently they informed to every country change their and giving free rice and wheat is more dangerous for the health and environment point of view.
We want something like uh, one of the alternatives, as I told you in the beginning, na, when I was speaking, that we worked with IICT on the food technology as to how we can reduce or how we can ensure that the food wastage does not happen. They had some ideas with which we went and implemented in the bakery, and we were able to successfully implement it because the production, they explained that now what is it that they need to do to reduce the wastage, the production, and then we work because I think ISCT is already working on the food technology on part. So we want that some help from this group so that now we can improve or we can reduce it, because there are many areas where we can try to reduce.
You had the opportunity to work with Lamgaru, and you have the vision what he had, you have implemented, and you've done some campaigns on a mega scale, reaching out to, you could mobilize a lot of people to do what you wanted to get done. So that is something that is very unique experience that you got. So talking about what we just discussed, the Vedic education aspect in children of various educational institutions, as well as the food that is being served to them, the millets, if we have to introduce. Now, how we can make a campaign out of it and do it in a mass scale without actually engaging the government or without any involvement of money, much money. So how do we do it? Can you give some ideas on that?
See, basically, whatever I have a knowledge of something like that, first we need to take a small problem, and a problem which is reality, and people should connect. So once they believe that, okay, this is the problem reality, and then we need to give them a solution which can be affordable solution. It is not a free solution. I never recommend for free, because free means there is no value. But affordable solution, they need to be do an affordability on that. For example, when we talk about right now, we want to really increase the demand of millets and other things. First, foremost important, what we need to do, we need to talk more about malnutrition problem in the grassroots level, and how this malnutrition, we can address this malnutrition problem at an affordable cost over a period of time. For example, right now, Akshaya Patra is doing a lot of meal distribution in a midday meal area, afternoon. Not only that, apart from that, Akshaya Patra also doing a meal for the poor people in urban areas or something like this. So if we really, if we concerned about this, what we need to tell them, the students, hey guys, because of what you are eating rice or something like that, it is really consuming a lot of water. Number one. Number two, it is not really giving you the minerals what you are supposed to be required. It is again, it is only your stomach may be full, but it is not going to be what do you call it, giving you the strength, your mind growth or something like that. So what we can do, like it is a kind of crowdfunding or something like that, we can think about it. For example, this is right now, it is a crowdfunding, Akshaya Patra is giving to the end customer at 5 rupees, but government is giving a subsidy or something like that around 17 rupees or something like this. We need to see that how we can really cross connect the dots, number one. Number two, and also we need to really address the malnutrition problem by way of giving this the best of and activity and all this thing. Some kind of activity we can do, because midday meal, even though right now COVID, during the COVID time, Government of India used to distribute to 80 crore population at free ration, at 5 kilos of rice and wheat. Okay, means India is having the poorest of the poor, below poverty line, 80 crore people out of 135 crores. Is it right? What is happening here? So something like this. We need to think about it, and when we want to take it into larger, first we need to connect people with the reality, and then we can scale this in a bigger way. As we have great people, okay, we need to educate them in a school level, as Brigadier Gareshan Garu and GPK Rao Garu and also Robin Hood Army, these people, whatever they said, their experience, and we need to bring a little bit more expert, like we can add or involve or include in this area like Akshaya Patra. Okay, they are, if your Akshaya Patra comes on ISKCON Foundation, they really transform the world very fast than what we think, what we have right now, because credibility is there for them. So first, foremost important is the need and the reality of the story, and the implementation credibility. Who is implementing, what credibility they have, that is most important.
Right.
The effort of this conference of people is to listen to the ideas of all the change agents. Council for Green Revolution is of the view that we have very little time to work on sustainable development goals. Today, we discussed about food, we discussed about environment topics, and there are a lot many other aspects too which we need to focus upon. So the overall idea after all these sessions is that if we can come up with some sort of an alliance and reach out to these schools and colleges. Why? Because if you see the colleges and schools of the day, it's really scary the direction the youngsters and children are going. At the same time, it's our collective responsibility. They say it right, upbringing of a child, it takes a village to raise a child. But we need to go for that collaboration. The basic fundamental thing about society is that it's not that easy to raise a child. That's the reason why schools and other things are designed, and all the collective learning happens there. So if we can design a way of reaching out to them, and all the partner organizations that we discussed, GBK Rao Garu, Karunakar Reddy Garu, Maruti sir, if each of them can be mentors, and if we can come up with something like food literacy, food can be a wonderful tool to, through food we can discuss about nutrition, through food we can discuss about environment. So through food we can discuss about the challenges of farmers, multiple things. And through food we can take up something like school nutrition garden. Every school can start their own nurseries, and it through them they'll learn about teamwork, resource management, responsibility. So I appeal to each of the panelists and the participants that if we can come up with some alliance sort of thing, the need of the hour is huge, and if we can strategize, and if we can curate some modules, a module on environment module, a module on food. So if we can come up with these things, that will go a long way. And I would like to tell a brief about Council for Green Revolution also here. Council for Green Revolution started in the year 2010 with a vision to do 1 crore sapling plantation and nurturing them. And till date, they were able to plant 36 lakh saplings and nourish them. And when Telangana government came up with the initiative Haritaharam, they took the support of Council for Green Revolution in executing the pilot project, and they have been the knowledge partners for the Haritaharam as well. And apart from that, they have extensively traveled in the areas of Eastern Ghats and came up with an environmental outlook of Eastern Ghats. And right now, the idea is to focus on the sustainable development goals by partnering with dedicated organizations for each goal. And if we can form this alliance, we can come up with some wonderful initiatives to sensitize on each and every sustainable development goal and small action points, so that we can we should be able to impact things on scale. And so we as civil society organizations, we have a critical role to play. We believe that with this power of partnerships, we can achieve that. Thank you so much. My charging is about to be down, and I thank each of the participants. And post the session also, we'll be reaching out to you. And innovation. Every child should be a problem solver, and innovation is the way. And who better than Palles Rujna and Ganesham Garu? Water, sensitizing on water and plantation. Karunakar Reddy Garu is doing amazing work. On nutrition, food, GB Kero Garu is doing wonderful thing. So if we all can combine, we can create that larger impact. And from our end, I'll promise that dedicated volunteers are ready to take this message and bridge the gap between, be the connecting link between these partner organizations in the schools and communities. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
I appreciate everyone speaking about children and focusing on children and bringing up the next generation, both from a positive nutrition point of view, an environmental education point of view, etc. I would, however, point out that we cannot wait for the next generation to grow up to solve the climate change problem now. I had to go off in between because I'm on a very strict diet and medication situation. So I'm not sure what happened after I left. But I have not heard too much about tackling business and getting business involved in a very, very, very big way to help the environment. They are required by law to give a percentage for CSR, corporate social responsibility. I and my husband would propose that policies be made so that a percentage of that CSR go directly for funds to protect our forests, massive afforestation, and wildlife protection, because no matter what we may do in promoting the various good foods and in educating the young people, if we do not bring our forests back online, if we do not focus on them and the wildlife that sustain them, we will not have the rains. The climate change will not be taken care of in an affordable, fast way. This will also help engage the rural communities in a major way, because they can be engaged in helping to plant those forests, in helping to become guardians of those forests, while they also take up organic farming in a major way. So I believe it is very important to tackle the business communities in a much more head-on way. And I believe that the groups of civil service organizations have the ability to do that if we work together. So I just needed to add that in there because I haven't heard much about how businesses, I heard about the wonderful business, the resorts and everything that they're doing. That is fantastic. But I am talking business in general. Business in general, from our experience, we have found their heads are in the sand, acting as if the forests and the wildlife, the environment doesn't mean anything until there's a water shortage and they have to close their factory and cannot manufacture anymore because the forests have been cut down and the rains are not there. Or they have a flood and they have all of this damage, or extreme high temperatures and their workers can't even work. So I would ask that the group also really consider how important it is to bring business online and to reach out to the business sector in a very, very, very major way. And I want to thank everybody for the opportunity. I look forward to working with everyone. We are always open to collaborate with people on these very important issues. Thank you both, especially you, for connecting with me. And my husband again, it's been too many years. Take care and God bless.
Thank you, Pamela.
What the Malhotraji said, without water, without air, what is that we can do? The utmost important that forestation, that wildlife, biodiversity is the highest priority. But the schools and all, simultaneously, the people can start, that is the education system. But the utmost priority is, can you count money closing your nose and mouth for how much time? That is the important of the oxygen. So without oxygen, no one can live on the planet. So oxygen, only trees can give. So the importance is plantation, plantation, plantation. That is the motive, whichever. Start with the urban forest in the areas where the concrete jungle is there. Not only other outside, even the cities, you have to bring the urban forest. That's what my focus again, as Malhotraji said. Thank you.
It was a great marathon event, but I think it was, we brought in so much people and networks around who are working seriously on environment and climate change.